wasn't so much a part of the agenda, and it wasn't when it wasn't in place so much, even at the domestic level, and just while we're talking grassroots and domestic level, it was the Warriors, wasn't it? Was it the Warriors who got was it the Cape Cobras who got fined for the Cobras? Sorry, yeah, they deliberately didn't meet the transformation target, which are much more stringent and game by game than they are at the national level. Not very long ago, and obviously that goes far beyond any individuals. But the more you look at it, the more somebody like Makai Ntini, who did come from a rural background, looks like a miracle.
But again, he comes from a rural background, but was plucked and placed at Dale College.
And we are back. Yes, and England haven't lost a wicket before lunch. It's the first time since 2009, we believe. Strauss and Cook.
That wouldn't have been 2009.
Isn't that what we discussed over lunch?
Ooh, I've just seen on the screen as well everyone's favourite Yorkshireman, Dawid Malan.
Yes.
He's in this TV studio.
Giving a bit of natter. So yeah, England haven't lost a wicket in the first innings for a very, very long.
Yeah, that's a result stat. James Moosh has sent it in about 15 minutes ago on Twitter.
What was it, Cook and Strauss?
It was Cook and Strauss, 196 in 47.5 overs against Australia at Lords.
No, there you go. 61 for none, England at lunch, and
just 91 behind the what was required.
91 behind the record first wicket stand for England at St George's Park.
Wow, it'd be nice if they get there.
It would
be nice. I mean, when's the last time England put 400 on in the first innings?
That's a very good question.
We were, I think, Hendo was looking at that in the green room when I was off, and it was Perth Ashes tour, last Ashes tour.
We got 400 at Perth.
Yeah,
really?
I think so. We went back to 2018 and we hadn't found one.
I know we've only had 2 400 plus innings.
Do you know who the record stand was, by the way, at St George's Park? First wicket for England.
It was 300 and something, wasn't it?
No, 152. That's hence 91 to go.
With the Strauss?
It was Strauss. Well, Strauss was one of them. Not Cook. Yes, Marcus Trescothick. Yes, it was.
Wow,
was that when
in the days when he used to tour?
Was that the 2006 tour when he got
2004, which I think was wasn't that also the last time they played there?
Yes, it was.
It's been a long while since England played there, indeed.
Well, given
the crowd,
South Africa's relative performance against England at PE, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
With 5 wins for England, 1 win for South Africa.
Well, it must be really deflated. I mean, Wanderers was their absolute,
that's a
fortress.
That's a banker, yeah.
Exactly. It's like the Gabba in Australia for Australians.
Well, Cape Town was a banker as well. They've never lost in Cape Town against England since '57.
Yeah. And that's what I meant. It was the Wanderers. It's the Wanderers at Cape Town, isn't it? Or was the Wanderers the first one?
Wanderers is
Newlands last time.
Newlands,
yes,
at Cape Town.
Wanderers what I meant.
At Johannesburg.
I meant Newlands. Beating them at Newlands must be a big blow to them. I thought that was a banker, and they got outplayed.
Yeah, I think you could say they won one day, or 3 sessions out of 15.
Well, the first day, didn't it? I mean, we didn't think that 260 was going to be nearly enough, but I think England bowled really well in that first innings, and it gave them the room, and certainly when they batted second, Stokes gave them the impetus to be able to kick on and give themselves enough time to get it out. And I still thought at lunch, when I went out to do something, didn't I, before lunch, and I came back.
And was this when you and Hendo did the sort of the...
No, it's right at the end of the last match. We needed 5 wickets in that last session, and I just thought,
Maharaj will continue.
I'll give him a little jingle.
He's been booked in for a long spell, I think.
Well, it's not surprising. It's turning quite significantly on day one. That's a very full ball to start after lunch, and it's just defended by Dom Sibley back down the track.
There's a bowler there from South Africa. Started up bowling pace.
Second ball the over, it's tossed up, it's too short, too wide. Does turn a little bit, but slow, and he just drives it out for cover, no run. Cut it, really, not driven. Yeah, no, I had to go and get my wife's computer fixed, didn't I? And I went down to the Apple store, and I was listening to us, and I was that's defended back down the track by Maharaj, and there's no run, and that whole of that second session, and Quinton de Kock and what was his name, Van der Dussen, just grinding it out, and I kept looking for a wicket to fall, and I thought if I'm out of the room and I'm not looking at it, a wicket will fall, and it just wasn't, and it wasn't. You're thinking, oh, we're losing time here. Defended back down the track by Sibley as Maharaj bowls the 4th ball of the over. That's on the spot.
Here's the batsman.
Tossed up this time, but on leg stump and clipped up to mid-on. That's fielded by Philander, no run. What's that from? Sounds like it should be a tune I recognise.
Is it Mog stealing songs from the shows again?
Yeah, is it a show song? I don't know. That's a good line, actually. You can get that. If the wicket deteriorates, it's given a little bit of air, but reasonably flat by Maharaj. It's on about middle and leg stump, and that's the one you want. You get
it's
that.
The Jaja line at pace.
Well, you get that at pace on a turning wicket. It's a devious ball. End of the over, and there's no run. Just defended back down the track for the last ball of the over. Yeah, no, that last session, and I thought, oh god, and I kept looking at the cricket info, and the wicket wasn't falling, and then Quinton de Kock fell on the way home, and I was like, great. And then I got back, and obviously Van der Dussen had just fallen. And you thought, Christ, actually we've opened the door, we've got 2 hours left.
In the end, it was like a lot of. It was like a lot of England when England have to get a lot of runs.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that often happens, doesn't it? But we've seen it so many times. England seem to have been able to, over the last couple of years, I seem to have watched England, as Rabada's going to be the bowler for
stubborn resistance, but when the end came, it came fairly quick,
and it also came quite a lot sooner. We never got quite into the last session.
But you're right, there is a change of bowling. We might actually have time at the end of the ball to give him
after his first ball. The man who should have opened up this morning, and he cuts one back into Zach Crawley, who I think it beat his inside edge, hit the inside of his thigh, and then rested in the top of his pad, and he knelt down and let it roll out.
This is the man.
He's a high roller, rock and roller, scariest, deadliest, killing this bowler. He can sink your oats like the Spanish Armada. No one faster, no one harder. What's his name? What's his name? Tell me, what's his name? KG.
Yeah, great jingle that. Rabada's going to come in. He should have opened the bowling this morning, we all thought, but he didn't. That's left by Crawley through to de Kock. There's no run.
It's a key part of the jingler's art, I would think, is to think that spin bowlers need short jingles and pace bowlers can have longer jingles.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
There you go. You should be a jingle
Morgan Jeff. Well, I could write the brief. I don't think I can execute the actual product. That's the problem. But there we go. But that is a great jingle.
And England made a slow start after lunch, which is fine. 61 for none. If we can bat the best part of 2 days and get 450, 500 on board, I'd be a very happy man. As that's defended up to mid-on, there's no run. It might be a bit dull to watch for the time being, but that's Test cricket for you.
Some shout-outs from Quick Tracker. Sinu Pani says hi. Jean Inamami says hello. Himant Kashyap joins us. Dinesh K. Patel joins us. And Bui Hai Ngam says something, I think, in Vietnamese.
Oh, hello there, the world.
It's got the word messenger in.
Yes,
but that's the only thing I'm the same with you. That's the only word I could read.
Rabada's number 9. That's pretty miserly, considering 2 of those were wides and one of them was a no ball. That's clipped into the leg side by Crawley, and he'll get his first run after lunch.
We haven't jingled the batsman, have we?
No, yes.
Zach Crawley was a cricket player, a damn good cricket player. But he was moved from the middle order to open the batting. Now, trapped in the English professional cricket circuit, Zach Crawley must fight to survive.
This is what Dan was sounding like last night when he was on the way home.
Yeah, I can imagine. Dan was he was a little tipsy last night. Slating Fred. It's quite amusing. Rabada, he's got number 10 or 6.4 overs. It's pretty good. He's looked by far the pick of the bowlers, pace-wise. Anyway, that one did squat a little. reasonably good length, but it seemed to keep a little low. But Sibley was on the back foot, watched it right onto his bat underneath his eyes, and just played it back past the bowler to mid-off. No run.
Linux here says, now that they've secured the moral victory, as England batting through unchanged, they can collapse with a clear conscience.
Well, there's always that possibility, but the pitch does look pretty sedate, doesn't it? I mean,
there's not that many terrors in it.
No, especially for the quicker bowlers. I mean, you can imagine it's a shame actually that Leach isn't available. That's left alone by Sibley. I think the keeper has no run. I think you prefer a left arm spinner or someone who can turn it away from the bat, which gives Denley a chance. But I don't. Denley's just not consistent enough with his length.
No, well, but I mean,
always line, to be fair. I mean, you got a couple of important wickets in the last game, and to be fair, Don Bess only got 2 wickets in the last game, but they were bloody vitally important at the times he got them. I mean, to get Faf du Plessis out, it was a dumb shot, but it's a good wicket to get.
Oh yeah,
and then
the 2 people who should have known better were du Plessis and
Elgar.
Cock.
Yeah, well, Denley got, yes, exactly. Elgar was out to Denley in the second innings, wasn't he? But Don Bess got him out, and he was the rock in the first innings, got himself into the 80s. And just made it, got beaten in the flight, which is a difficult thing to do on a pretty flat pitch, but he managed it and got a very vital wicket at a vital time. So you can't knock him too much, I suppose. That's full, and
that's
Crawley
nicely done.
It was a bit flat-footed. Just kind of planted his bat on the ball, angled the face, and let it run past the slips down towards third man. It's vacant. I'll get back for 2. Hands on hips a bit from Maharaj. I would feel a bit that way. He did look a bit stuck on the crease, and it was a late decision to play the shot, but he did control it. It's safe enough down there.
Yeah, well, they've just changed the field by bringing this short mid-off fairly close to the wicket, and therefore he can't prod forward, so he's just laid back and let it run off the face.
Yeah, and he does it again. It's playing with fire though. He's gone right back in front of middle stump and just put his bat on it right in front of his pad.
Got one of his first balls, didn't he, to really
rip. I mean, it is turning. I mean, it's probably slow and it'll be very consistent because it's day one and the pitch will be flat. But I mean, if it breaks up, it could be quite lethal. That's full of ball, and on the front foot this time Crawley gets there and just plays it up to mid-on, no run.
Justifies the decision to bat first all the more, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've seen a lot of teams recently choosing to bowl first, but was it Bailey? Down the track this time comes Crawley. Doesn't quite get to the pitch, just works it round to the corner of the man behind square, and they didn't go through for the single.
No, I think he'd been run out by about a third of the wicket.
Yeah, possibly. But it's good thinking. I like that. Make the bowler think. Spinners hate it when batsmen come down the track to them. On the front foot, there's a big that straightened up. He defended just in front of his pad. Bit of an inside edge.
Yeah, I mean, there's coming down the pitch. There's coming down the pitch without control.
Yes.
And
well, you've got to be able.
He is coming down the pitch with control.
Exactly. You've got to be able to decide. I'm not at the pitch of the ball. I'm just going to pat it back, not just say shit. I'm down the track. I'm going to go through with some shit shot and get myself out. Crawley faces up, and that's well defended by him into the leg side. And there's no run. I like this line by Maharaj. He's attacking. He's bowling at the stumps. And of course, that's when the pitch wears a bit. That's disadvantage being a right armer to right-handers. I mean, if it's turning, ragging, then you've got to pitch it so far outside the off stump, you're going to take LBW out unless you come around the wicket.
He got rather overused, didn't he? Certainly in
yeah, and I thought at the end, he really didn't look like taking a wicket at the end there. I thought, I was on commentary with you, wasn't I? And he was, Best was bowling it way too full. The pitch was a bit of an inconsistent bounce at the end, and it was dusty, and it was turning, but he was just getting it too full, so he could get right on top of the ball and smother it. You needed to drag his length back, try and get a kick out of the rough, and bring the pad, gloves and bat into for short leg and those fielders on the leg side at the end of that game. Defended back down the track.
43 overs, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a lot of overs. He didn't go for a lot of runs. Defended back down the track, there's no run. And I guess, Hendo were talking about this on a train yesterday on the way back from our meeting. And the thing is, because he over pitches it, it's a lot easier to set a field. That's the plus side of it. Most of the shots are going to be drives, and therefore you can set your covers and your mid-offs and your man just around the corner and all that sort of stuff for the fuller ball, hoping it'll generally hit the fielder. Now that's a bit aerial by Sibley as he tries to work it into the leg side from Rabada.
Thank God he didn't time that.
No, got a little underneath it.
It was only 2 yards short of the
Yeah.
short mid-wicket fielder.
There's a little clip. I think the slowness of the pitch is what's doing people, isn't it? He was through the shot very early.
Well,
And had to check it a
twice earlier on, Crawley
Yeah.
was looking to pull the ball away, and the first one he lofted over mid-on, only just.
Yeah, and the one
And
after,
then the one after he
before.
dropped just short of mid-on.
But yeah, the second
Bracketed
one,
mid-on,
the second
as-
one they
as
had a
Gary
shot
said.
from mid-on. Oh, that's skewed off the edge. Genuine edge this time by Sibley. He's got the luck of the draw though. There's no one in the gully. There's only 2 slips, and it's raced away to third man. 4 runs. Well, you get to earn your luck in cricket, and he's certainly done that there.
The soft hand saved him again to a certain extent, although
Well, no,
no,
there's
it's
just
gone
no
for a
one.
catchable high.
There's
If
just
there's a
no
man
one.
there.
absence of a fielder saved him, to be fair.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no one at
wasn't
gully.
soft
They've only
hand.
got 2 slips in, but that's because they've got to 67 without loss, and they can't attack. So it's the benefit.
Our very own Nestle boy says he's listing in on Central Line on his way to see 1917, which is given a 5-star review by Gary Naylor.
Ah, well.
And I saw it Tuesday night. Nestlers, you will enjoy it.
I want
I
to see
believe.
it. Well, I'm going to wait for it to come on telly.
Fascinating,
just
fascinating camera work.
worked into the leg side, down to a man just behind square, and there won't be a run.
And we think, says Grits and Grats, that the Sibley Jungle, as he tweeted it, is in the style of Late of the Pier. Am I correct? I don't know.
I don't know.
Whose jingle was the Sibley jingle? Because if they're listening, they might tell us.
It'll
Let me
be
have a
Mog.
look.
It's Mog. I can
Do
tell
we think
jingles.
it's Mog?
Yeah, I have an ear for jinglers. That's guided better this time. Sibley gets on top of the ball and guides it down where the edge went, but all on the deck past the slips, and he'll get back for 2. And he moves on to 36. England moving to 70 for none in 30.5 overs. Yes, you heard that right. 70 for none. Crawley is 23 off 92 balls. Sibley's 36 off 94. And it's been a good opening partnership. And you have to say South Africa look a little bit deflated.
And Abbott Schultz is also giving love to the Crawley jingle. It's just made his day. James Hubbardston has just joined us. He says he's on his way back from a gig, tuning in to find out what's happening. Well, not a lot's happening, very
I've just given
slowly.
you the whole stats, except for Rabado. He's none for 16, and he's on the last ball of his 8th over, and that's down the leg side. And he's out, and there is the wicket. I've just fucked it all up, haven't I? Sibley has got inside that. There is a man who's quite close, just behind square. He's not quite a short man on the 45. He's just a little bit squarer than that. But Sibley got inside the ball. It didn't really get too high up on him. It's just a natural shot, I think, you play to that ball. But he couldn't quite get on top of it, and it was aerial. It's a good catch. Who's that down there? It's Milan. And it's a good catch by him, low down, just by his ankles. But he's there for that shot, and he's got it. And England lose their first wicket. They're 70 for 1 after 31 overs.
Is it a deliberate trap, do we think?
Oh yeah, the fielder's definitely there for that, but you've got to feel a little bit for the batsman. I mean, it's a natural shot to play to that ball. It's a bit like Van der Dussen when he got out to Anderson in the last game. You know.
Well, this tweet hasn't aged well. It's only a minute old. He said, "Morning," says Chris Charlie Paul. Unaccustomed to not having lost a couple of wickets already. Both openers have done their job today, even if they don't get another run. Hopefully they will cash in, though.
Well, Sibley didn't
The
get
first
another
part
run.
of that sentence was right.
Yeah. And they have done their job. You know, we're into the 31st over. The ball will already be a little bit older. Denley will come out now, and then Root, you know, if Root gets in, even if we lose 2, we're 70 for 2. I think Root will fancy this out there, won't he? There's going to be a lot of spaces for him to nudge it around and do Root-like
Not
things.
quite enough to bat at number 3, though.
No, and see, this would be perfect for Root to come in now, wouldn't it? And I think if he, we've talked about this loads, but I mean, I think part of the reason that Root doesn't like batting at 3 is because the opening has been so useless for the last couple of
It's
years.
also given a big lie to the fact, why didn't Kubiso Rabada not open the ball?
Absolutely, I just don't get that.
Well,
It was Elgar, sorry, who caught that, who was down and
but it
short
wasn't.
on
It
the leg side.
wasn't bold. It wasn't LBW. It didn't take an edge. With
No, that's what I mean.
fearsome pace outside of off stump. It was just a well thought through and well executed trap.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. I think the batsman's actually a little unlucky. Maharaj starts his next over, bowls at Crawley, gets forward and defends, and there's no run. it's a natural shot to play. Exactly, it was in at the hip. It's going down the leg side. If he'd glanced that far, it would have been 4 runs. Oh, there's an appeal there. I think that's going down the leg, though.
That's down leg.
I think it hasn't squared up enough. It was pretty flat. It's probably hit him inside or maybe just on the outside of the leg stump.
I think Maharaj knows he's bowled the arm ball there.
Yeah.
Well, his expression suggested he knew it was going down leg.
Yeah.
Most importantly, the umpire knew it was going down leg.
It was the arm ball. It just went straight on.
I do know.
Going leg side. Forward, that's a decent shot, though, by Crawley. He's whipped that with a lot of bottom hand through the leg side, and it's got the pace, and it's raced away, actually, beating the man at mid-wicket and gone all the way to the boundary for 4 runs. It'd be interesting to see how Denny plays Maharaj here.
I'm aware he needs a jingle, however, his jingle is one that needs a little bit of space and time.
Well, it does. He's not facing anyone.
Probably not best suited to a Maharaj over.
No. I don't mind if you know how to ride the volume and make it a
fade.
You can make a bed out of it.
I'm familiar with fade.
You know what a bed is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, there you go.
Bed, yes.
Maharaj is in. That's outside off stump. Ooh, and that's a bit of a rash shot by Crawley, trying to force it through the offside off the back foot. It's pretty close to the stumps. I mean, it was a straight bat, but it just missed the outside edge of his bat.
Again, decent turn, but
yeah, consistent
early,
it
was there.
Test turn. Yeah, it's there. It's gonna be interesting. Wow, that's a good leave. Crawley just goes back, puts his foot, his back pad's just outside the line of off stump, and it may have brushed the pad through the Quinton de Kock, which is why I think Maharaj was half appealing there. But again, it just turned. No, I don't think it brushed the pad, and Money missed the off stump by an inch, 2 inches. Crawley facing up. Last ball of Maharaj. He's only gone for 2 and over, and gets right forward on that one, defends, and there is no run. It's kind of pitch you think he might want 2 spinners. Have they got a part-timer? Because I fancy Root will be bowling a fair bit.
Elgar turn his arm, can't he?
Well, he bowls sort of left-arm darts.
Yeah.
More than anything else.
You'd like to think he bowls variations.
Well, darts
with a very slow variation that he can throw in if he wants to.
A ragging pitch on day 4.
In an enigmatic
maybe some
way.
of the other batsmen can bowl, but I don't know of them.
Anyway, the new batsman, here he is.
Joe Denley, he's almost as old as the theme song, but Chef is gone and we need someone to bat at the top of the order. Joe Denley, he's also a part-time bowler. He can do leg spin, but he's no Ravi Ashwin.
No Ravi Ashwin, that's very true. Dropped short by Rabada to say hello to Denley, and he just drops his hands and lets it through to keep, and there's no run. Now, I wonder, Denley has been accused of being too slow, hasn't he, recently? Which is partly his job, but with 71...
Oh, you mean you're going to do a Compton on him and get in his head and make him
I
change
don't actually, I think it really doesn't bother him, and he showed attacking intent at times when he's needed to, especially against, I think he would like to attack Maharaj. He likes to get on the front foot against the spinners, doesn't he? Down the track, over the top. Make them think a bit. Rabada is in, and Danny gets right behind that and defends back up the track. There's no run.
Well, again, it's the first afternoon of the first day.
Yep.
They've just lost their first wicket. Your job at if it was 180 without loss, it would be a different brief to 74 without loss.
Yes, absolutely.
So I don't think at 74, for one, he's under any pressure to play any.
No, he isn't. No, I agree with that.
Build his innings,
but
he's got to follow the Hippocratic oath. First, do no harm.
Yes,
don't make it worse.
But he is quite attacking against the spinners, and I think it's not a bad approach. Left alone outside the off stump, there's no run. He seems to pick the ones that he comes down the track to pretty well.
Yeah.
It's not like he's doing it every ball, but he decides he's going to do it, and he generally gets to the pitch of the ball and generally hits over the fielder. He's not done a bad job at number 3, but you can see the future here, can't you? If Burns gets back, gets himself back in cut, Crawley settles a place, then he gets maybe a year or so, and there's a bit of competition at 1, 2, 3 and 4. Sorry, 1, 2 and 3.
Pope, I think, ultimately will
And
move up the order.
Do you think so? But he bats number 6 for Surrey, doesn't he?
He bats
too wide of the off
5
stump
for
and there's no
Surrey,
run.
which I think he and Stokes might change
Swip.
positions depending on the workload of Stokes.
Yeah. Well, and also potentially the state of the game. I mean, you're you're fast scoring all rounder. You can move around to a certain extent, depending on the needs of the game, can't you?
Well, Pope does seem quite free-flowing player as well, though, doesn't he? I mean, you don't want to put someone who is free-flowing and can score quite quickly so high up the order that it negates their game, if that's his position. Oh, that's a decent ball by Rabada. There's a little bit of a movement in the air and it carries on a little bit off the seam, beats the outside edge of Denley. He's propping forward, he's only plays fast 5 balls. Rabada is by far the quickest of the Safa bowlers and by far the most effective so far in this game. He looks head and shoulders above the others.
He just had a little shove at it with
Yeah,
his
little
hands.
he did. He's always going away.
No, he's well set for the original line, but once the ball moved, he tried to follow it, which was not the
It's
greatest
not the thing
of
you do. Yeah, don't get a lot of time to think though, do you? 74 for 1 England, and Rabada's in. Last ball of the over is down leg side, too far down leg side. Denley tries to whip it down to deep square leg, can't get anything on it. Goes through to Quinton de Kock and it ends the over. 1 for 16 Rabada after 9 or 8. And Denley yet to score.
And we have tweets from Dr. Jonathan Lowe, now recently PhD'd. Congratulations. He just because one word repeated many times, saying doom, doom, doom.
Man, you pessimists out
Did
there.
you say a doctor who's just recently qualified?
He's now Doctor and Doctor, Mr. Lowe, and
Give him a standing ovation. Becoming a PhD. Oh look, there's a man climbing up on the roof. What's he doing?
at work, I imagine.
Yeah.
Krista Quire says, I trust Messi Jez will feel suitably riffed. Asked you to wrap up England innings by lunch. No wickets. As soon as he leaves, you start getting batters out.
Well, there you go. First ball of Maharaj's 7th over is just defended by Zach Crawley into the leg side, no run. That's a precarious place to be, all the way out there, isn't it? Defended, squirts off the outside half of the bat, square onto the offside to point. There's no run again.
I've been chided by Linux D. Says there's nothing wrong with bowling left-arm darts. Just look at Ravi Jadeja, the wrist wind-up toy spinner. Jared Kimber called him.
Well, no, that's the thing. If the pitch is ragging, it's the best thing to do because the pitch is doing all your work for you. That's try to turn that, Crawley. Not a wise decision. It comes off the face of the bat, but he's turning it and goes straight back down the track to the man who's a very deep silly mid-off, quite straight. Oh, very straight. Deep silly mid-off. Down the track, closes the face on it again, works it up to Philander. No, sorry, it's Peterson at mid-on. And they get through for a single. He gets himself off strike, moves on to 28. What?
Peterson? Patterson.
Peterson, isn't it?
Patterson's the bowler.
Patterson. Dane
Oh,
Patterson.
Oh, right. No. I thought it was...
Oh, you're talking about Keegan Peterson,
Yes.
who's the other person who might have been on as a sub fielder.
Oh, no, I was thinking of Peter Milan, actually. How the hell I got to Peterson, I don't know. Sorry, peeps. Anyway, Denley's facing up. His first ball. Pleasantly forced up to mid-off. And there is no run. I'll be interested if we get on a GPO in the end. Want to check that?
I can check that for you. GPL.
Should be the first tab.
First tab. Okay, I'm with you.
You want to refresh that? Defended back up the track. Very too full that time by Maharaj. And there's no run. And that ends Maharaj with 7 overs. None for 11. Pretty tidy. Cordy's on 28. Denny's on none. England 75 for 1.
James Humberson has a communication for you, Tony. Yes, he is in. He says, I have SCG members tickets for you in the upcoming Shield match. DM me.
I will. Yes. No. I realise. James, I did. Maybe you didn't get it because I was also asking you A, how you were, and B, comments. Asking about the air quality and general.
How were you
things
feeling?
Yeah. So it wasn't just can't wait to see you. Where's my tickets? So I sent you quite an extensive DM. I'll try again, but do check your inbox on Twitter because I'm sure I sent that.
Rabada is in once more. And left alone outside the off stump by Zach Crawley. And There is no run.
You asked me about the GPL.
7 entries.
7.
So they're the ones that no one came in the last half hour. It's a bit disappointing, peeps. But I see messages has piled in on 3s.
So take equals entries, does it?
Yes.
Okay.
Rabada is at the end of his run-up. Crawley's just settling down, getting ready to receive the ball. Rabada's up to the crease, full, driven nicely by Crawley. Closed the face a bit. I'm not sure that was voluntary. Maybe loose hands. Anyway, it's quite pleasantly driven up to mid-on. There is no run. You see Faf telling people where to go.
He's faffing about.
He is faffing about. And he's one I thought he was the batsman who was kind of culpable in the last, if you're going to say where the mistakes were made that cost them the match. The 2 wickets that were given away, you'd say were Faf and Quinton de Kock in that chase. That's full and floaty and outside off stump. Not timed particularly well by Crawley. It was there to drive. He got it into a gap. But Nortje gets across the field and only get a single for that. It's driven out through extra cover. He's quite deep at a wide mid-off, is Nortje.
It's all right. Bear, you've been absolved. Strange Carrots has admitted guilt. He said, "Good grief, I get dragged into a 5-minute meeting and we lose a wicket. Sorry, my fault."
Yes, that was actually a cross-seam, slower delivery by Rabada there. Almost out the back of the hand, but all out the front of the hand, actually, not out the back. Pulled, nicely pulled by Denley. Maharaj is back on the fence out there and gets around quick enough to stop it, but he rode the bounce really well. There's no one at square leg. Maybe in the air for a little bit.
It was almost the old Ponting swivel pull,
yeah,
wasn't it?
he does. Denley plays that shot well. You know, he generally gets on the ball, on top of the ball. He got out to the pull in the last game, but generally he rides it quite well.
Might be a bit of footwork by the square leg umpire as well.
Yes, sort of working up the square leg umpire, who's sort of like contemplating his navel and checking his fingernails or something, and not looking at the wicket until the ball was about 2 yards away from him.
Is that umpire Tucker down there who's at square leg? No.
Rabada in. Ooh, tried to work down the leg side again.
I think it's Oxton.
I don't know which one's at which end.
Umpires apart.
Yeah. Crawley got a bit squared up there, trying to work it into the leg side. Ended up going skewing straight back down the track to Rabada on his follow through. No run, 1 ball left in this over.
James Hummerson has apologised to you. He said, "It's my second Twitter account."
Oh.
So we're not even good enough to get your first Twitter account?
Yes. Okay, so I'll look at the one you just sent me and see if I can apply to that. Thank you, James. Looking forward to it, though, very much indeed.
Rabada up to the crease. Pralab's here. Haven't seen you for a very long time.
The late Pralab.
Lately, it's all right. Through to keeper and there's no run. And I presume that's change time then, is it? Who's coming in? We're having a change. Let's have Rihanna. Rihanna's going to tell you how you can help us out. And do please help us out, because I know some of you have been, reneging on your duties, and we need you for us to require, to carry on.
If that's it, here she is.
Yep. You owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills, so please go to patreon.com/GorillaCricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there is literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way. See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/GorillaCricket.
Just a hint of turn as Maharaj starts a new over. Denley presses forward, comes off a thick outside edge towards squarish cover. I'm Gorilla Hendo, and I'm joined by Pralab.
Hi everyone, I'm here.
First time
living.
of the winter. First time of the winter, is it?
Yep, first time of the new year.
Excellent. This is, well, I said it's a Yorker, but really Denley, by trying to advance down the track, rather turned it into a Yorker. Ended up digging out and swapping from the Tweets chair to the Jingles chair with incredible velocity. It's Jason G.
Velocity, dexterity,
dexterity, all of the above.
Athleticism, I think.
Athleticism, absolutely. I saw someone was likening you to Murray Walker earlier.
Yes, I think it was.
Has that happened before? Defended on the front foot to short extra cover?
No, it's a slightly bewildered and surprised look, I think.
You're right. Okay, you're sort of caught in the headlights.
Yes,
sort of look.
exactly that.
Which is what we all get when we're on Guerrilla Cricket and in the spotlight. A slip and a short extra, the close fielders, and thrown up. Joe Denley just playing a little bit outside this delivery, and if you remember in the second test, that's how he got out to Maharaj. He's playing for a little bit of turn that isn't necessarily there, and leaving a gap between bat and pad. In comes Maharaj. He plays at this one, defending into the offside.
Oh, I like that.
Just a single from Joe. He's been very watchful, and the good thing about Joe Denley in this series or in his career is the way he's occupied the crease.
The spin bowler in me likes that ball because it's arcing in and it just dips on you. And the question was whether they're going to turn then afterwards.
Well, indeed. This one goes straight on and he defends it back to the bowler. Where have you been all this winter then?
I think New Year's or what years. It's always perpetually winter out here, so I think that means I haven't been here for a while. I've just been out, a bit of travelling around Christmas.
Did you go to New Zealand for any of the cricket?
No, I didn't, unfortunately. It was more out in Europe.
Right.
So just around here. But that was really enjoyable.
Okay. You always seem to be going off somewhere exotic.
I am. I think when you're here from Australia, it's just one of those where it's just so nice and easy. A 2-hour flight, you're somewhere new.
Yeah.
You can even call it like a bus from France to San Sebastian, and it's just a 5-hour bus.
Splendid.
In Australia, you get from Melbourne to Sydney. It takes you longer to get there by bus.
Well, yeah, God, Melbourne to Sydney. I've done that a few times by road or
anywhere to Perth.
Or anywhere to Perth, absolutely. Dane Patterson, who rather curiously opened the bowling this morning instead of Kagiso Rabada, is going to come back for his second spell, I think it is. I think he must have bowled 5 overs, none for 10. Didn't bowl bad. He didn't bowl.
He picked up the only wicket. I'm surprised.
No, he didn't. No, it was Rabada who picked up the wicket.
No, I'm saying as in Rabada did. Replacing him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. But I mean, I would say he wasn't one thing or the other, was he? He wasn't really quick enough, and he wasn't really accurate enough. Anyway, this is his jingle.
Have you heard that Patterson? He's a bowler, South African. Favourite ferret shouldn't come in. He's got a really fine abdomen.
Yeah, we've been admiring his abdomen since we noticed that it was on the jingle. Lovely little dab from Crawley into the offside, which has Milan, I think it is, coming round to his left at extra cover, but it does give them time to come through for a single. So Crawley moves to 30, England to 78 for 1. Any tweets?
Look, just the one, which is a photo, which I'll hold up here. To see if how do you think he compares?
Is that who is? Oh, that's Murray Walker.
It's Murray Walker.
Did Murray Walker die?
No.
He's still alive. Oh, good. I'm so glad. I always think these people have died.
I'm still here.
You're still here. This is flicked into the onside by Denley. Again, played quite nicely with good timing. But it's something that we've pointed out from time to time is that Denley, especially early in his innings, will pick out the fielders. He's so orthodox in a way.
I think it's the big glasses and the lip mic and the receding hairline.
I think we could get you to
the major factor.
I think you could pass for him at a fancy dress party. I think you probably could.
Yeah, or he could dress up as you. I mean, either way.
Yeah, well, exactly. He probably does. I mean, he's probably heard of your exploits with Woodmanstern. Patterson in, bowls back of a length, defended by Denley towards mid-wicket.
What have you made of England's, I guess I'll use the word velocity here, velocity in this innings?
Well, it's been a plodding velocity, I would say. Measured. I think that's a better word, actually, isn't it? Yes. And, yes, it's... Well, you know, we can't complain, can we? I mean, this is what we've wanted. This is what we've been crying out for, I suppose.
That wicket was a bit of a surprise. It wasn't expected. They'd been in good control for most of the game.
Yeah, it was a bit of a bonus, wasn't it? Fuller ball, defended again by Denley up to mid-on. Now, I think it was curious, that dismissal. I mean, obviously they'd put the fielder there for that shot. And it's difficult to know what's quite going through the batsman's mind. Is he thinking to himself, the ball is in that area, but I'm good enough to get it wide of him, so I'm still going to play the shot? Or did he just not think clearly?
Well, I think part of it is an instinctive reaction, and part of it is, no, if I hit him, I've been unlucky, because I only have to get a yard behind side of him and it's runs.
Yes, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Defended on the front foot back to the bowler, and there is no run. Yes, I mean, it's a case of, you know, a lot of the time with players, your strength can also turn out to be your weakness.
Oh yes, there's many ways to skin a cat and many ways to get players out. Do you attack their strength or do you attack their weakness?
Actually, what are the different ways of skinning a cat? I think we should be
I know,
told.
there's 101 ways, apparently, according to the book I saw at Christmas.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, they've got 9 lives, so it takes a while.
2 slips in the gully, and it's full. Absolutely no movement for Patterson. He looks proficient enough without looking as if he's going to cause too many problems, certainly on this wicket.
I'm just trying to remember who's the bowler he reminds me of. Who's the South African bowling coach?
Who is the South African bowler? Oh, yeah, well, Langeveld is involved, isn't he? Yeah, it could be Langeveld. Charles Langeveld. Yeah.
Proficient, trier, 100%. Not express.
Yeah, there's almost something slightly Danny Morrison about him as well, I think. But anyway, it may be going too far. He's just gone for the 11 runs from 6 overs. Verlander's bowled 6 overs, none for 9. There's nothing there for Verlander, so he's just reduced to bowling little cutters as much as anything. Rabada 1 for 18, the wicket taker. For a man who's been quite expensive in this series, although picking up 12 wickets, he's been surprisingly economical today. Maharaj continues, left arm round the wicket. Oh, that's a horrible shot from Crawley. He was trying to play a little paddle sweep, and not only was it taken from outside off stump, it then turned more, and he could have been in trouble there. Could have got a little top edge, and it could have gone anywhere, really.
Very surprising shot. The shot just wasn't on.
No,
that
was quite
where it
sharp.
was pitched.
The length is you can't
play
that length.
Yeah.
That was misread completely, I think, by Crawley. Doesn't want to start playing those shots as an opening batsman. This one shoots off a thick outside edge as he pushes forward. There is a little bit of turn there for Maharaj, which may be great news for England, really. The longer they can occupy the crease, maybe this pitch will begin to turn more.
Well, I get the feeling Maharaj is just getting his fingers warmed up now.
You do get that feeling, don't you? Yeah. I mean, we saw at Cape Town that he got one to turn really early and everyone got very excited, and then it didn't do anything for ages, which can sometimes happen. But there does seem to be a little bit more consistent turn here as he's in. Bowls to Denley, who comes inside out. Now that might have been dropped by Elgar at extra cover, or it may have just dropped short of him. By the reaction of the bowler and the fielder, you feel as if he thought he had a good chance there of picking that one up. No doubt it would have been low, but I think
I think he's dropped that.
Way up in the sky, little darling.
Hurt his hand as well. He's in again, bowls to Denley. Denley plays this along the ground to the shorter of the 2 extra covers.
No one hurts the hands, it's just the post dropped look
well, yeah.
that you get.
Oh, it's gone right on the end of my finger. If I'd just been a little bit more lucky, I would have caught that. Tight one, isn't it? It's a very tight one as we look at it again. Pushed to mid-wicket this time. As we're just seeing it from the angle behind extra cover. If he got his hands a little bit lower, even then it would have jabbed his fingers into the turf. Would have been difficult to hang on to.
The ball on fingers first, you'd have to classify as a drop, but it was a tough one. I do agree.
Very
it was
tricky.
dropping on him.
He's in again. Oh, and he flat bats this time, Denley, which is a pretty good way of playing. If you've not quite got to the pitch of the ball, or it's a little bit wider than you expected. He gets a single to long off, and England at the end of that over have moved to 80 for 1.
Yeah, just a couple of Facebook comments. So one from Suraj Kaful. One of the top bowlers in Test cricket, Rabada, hasn't been that brilliant today. What may be the reason behind that? And probably not just even today, right? But I'd say a reflection of the last 6 months or so.
Well, I mean, I think everyone through their career goes through little dips, but I think the thing with Rabada is he's got an amazing number of wickets considering how young he is, really.
He's still got 195 wickets at an average of 22. 7 in basically 4 years, because it was this series 4 years ago that he made his debut.
And he took, of course, 7 wickets in one of those innings. Or was it a centurion? He took a 7 for 112, I think it was. 19 runs from this session of 11 overs, so again slow going since lunch from England, but who cares, really? They've just got to lay a platform, haven't they? We've seen enough from the spinner to suggest it might do a little bit for Dominic Bess and the part-timers. This is Patterson making his debut, bowling outside the off-stump to Denley, and Denley lets it go. I mean, the other thing about Rabada is that, you've still got to say, he's taken 196 wickets now, at 22. This pitch is not really doing anything for the seamers at all.
It's a grafter's pitch.
There's no swing whatsoever. And yet, funnily enough, in terms of economy, he's probably produced his best figures of the series. Goes a little bit wider on the crease, does Patterson, but Denley plays with the angle to mid-wicket, and there is no run. Denley has 2, Crawley 31.
Just a question from Leah. Why does Faf smear sunscreen only on into his beard? One would think that's part of the face that needs it the least.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is, because I was thinking his beard was looking sort
But
of
if you
speckled
burn
with grey.
But if you burn your skin underneath it, it's a real pain.
Right, yes.
I actually
fair
did
point.
face that dilemma as well, having your beard like on. Do you actually put sunscreen on your beard or not? And I'd say you do need a bit of a layer.
Yeah, probably. Defended again by Denley, holding the pose. The ball runs back to the bowler.
It probably depends on how dense it is as well. If it's enough to block out the sun.
I suspect that Knackle doesn't really need much sun cream under his beard, because his is luxuriant. Yours is quite luxuriant. isn't it?
Yeah, mine's quite good as well.
He
so I
said
think
modestly about his own beard.
Yeah, just a hat and I need to relook at Faf's beard
We can
now.
have our
kind of
very
have to-
own Gorilla Cricket beard off.
We did well, yeah. I did have one for a while, but it wasn't very good. Patterson in again, bowls to Denley. Denley gets an inside edge onto pad as he plays a little bit outside this one, but it runs harmlessly back towards the bowler, and there is no run.
I think he just ran his fingers over it slightly. He just moved in a touch, and he also get a little bit of shape away as well.
Let's have a look at this.
Scramble scheme.
Scrambled seam. Yeah, just a little bit of movement back, perhaps. On a pitch that was more conducive to this sort of bowling, it might have been a very good ball. I always worry about Denley. I mean, I've seen a few articles written about him this week. He does have that problem between bat and pad. He does leave a gap. He's been got out a couple of times. That's a very good bouncer from Patterson, very straight. And Denley got into position as if he was going to hook that, and then decided to leave it. And of course, you can remember, was it the second innings at Cape Town? He got done by a short one, didn't he? And took it on. He is compulsive when it comes to those sort of shots, but he's actually done well to restrain himself, I think.
It's pretty much the perfect Wagner length there.
Yeah, it's going to struggle to control that shot if you do lay bat upon it. Now Denley settles down again, and Patterson with two slips in the gun, he approaches and he drives a lovely shot this time. It was right up in the slot, but so often, as I say, Denley hits that to the fielders. This time he's found the gap between extra and mid-off, and it's run away for 4. So he moves to 6, and England to 84 for 1.
That was threading the needle really between mid-off and the short cover stroke mid-wicket. Cover stroke.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shot. Beautiful shot. It is a pretty much a genuine half volley. And on this pitch where it's not really doing very much, he was safe in playing the shot. Pushes the run rate up to above 2 and over. 2.15.
He's a tweet from Mog, just regarding comments about cats earlier. You know how many ways there are to skin a cat, just as a question mark? None, and it better stay that way. By fucking thunder, I'll skin you.
Well, I agree with that. You know me, Mog. I mean, I absolutely love cats, but...
what I'd suggest is there is a documentary just on Netflix called
Don't
Fuck With
I
Cats,
can't watch that. It's horrible.
Which just follows a person, I guess, who initially posts some videos doing some horrible stuff to cats, but then moves on to humans.
That doesn't sound like a great night of entertainment to me. This comes off an inside edge of Crawley's bat towards square leg, and there is no run.
Look, I thought it was quite interesting. A 3-part series, but very interesting to seeing someone who clearly has issues start off with animals and move to humans. But I do recommend it. It's a 3-part series. They don't show any of the videos.
Short and just holds up a little bit as Crawley goes back and cuts, and therefore he cuts in front of square and picks out extra cover.
But it's just a study in psychology then.
Is this based on a true story?
It is. So it's true.
Yeah.
It's actually following a killer that happened around the world. Happened about 6 or 7 years ago. But they do describe a lot of it and show stills from the videos, and it is quite horrible what this person does.
Well, if you love animals, but if you love cats especially, that's horrible. This is just pushed up to mid-on. There is no run. Crawley has 31, Denley has 6. Well, they do say, don't they? They do say that many serial killers have started out on animals, which is a horrible thought. Maharaj round the wicket to Crawley. Crawley has bat and pad very closely aligned as he defends this back to the left arm spinner. And the score remains 84 for 1. Crawley settles down and waits. Maharaj is in. And he opens the face there, trying to steal a single, but Elgar is round swiftly to his left and prevents that. But nice little competition there. You can just see how he just tried to open the face a little bit there so that he could get it wide of Elgar and perhaps pick up that single, keep the strike rotating, which is so important when you're not batting at a particularly fast pace. This is played straight back to Maharaj. It's the end of the over. He's bowled at 10 now for 13 runs. England 84 for 1.
Roger McCann, South Africa might regret not picking Dane Pate for this one, as do all music lovers.
Absolutely.
And Lawrence Jamison, South Africa bouncing the ball into the keeper a lot, trying to get reverse. Umpires should be watching that.
Well, curiously, I think when Rabada was bowling, there was talk on the TV that he was trying to get reverse swing. It seemed a little bit early in the day for that.
They tried quite early on when the ball was doing absolutely nothing to get the ball replaced.
Oh, of course. Well, yeah, they've got to try everything. I mean, it's disheartening for a bowling team to find yourself getting out there and absolutely nothing happening at all. So exciting is this game that one spectator, rather like there was a man at Cape Town, wasn't there?
He's watching
early in the morning.
In meditative mode.
He is. That's right. Yes, indeed. He's just got just enough of his eyes open to be able to see what's going on. It looks like Patterson is going to continue. He's just chatting away to Philander. It's helping him. I can't believe that the ball is in any way moist, but he seemed to be rubbing a cloth on it. Anyway, Patterson in, bowls to Denley. Denley leaves outside the off stump, and through it goes to De Kock.
Also just welcome Sunu and Sudhir and Dinesh onto our Facebook live feed.
Hello there. Quite a few of us watching on our own Facebook page as well, on GorillaCricket.com. So welcome along to those of you that are viewing / listening to us there, and good helping of folk on YouTube as well. So you can listen to us and watch us in many formats. Patterson in, bowls, and Denley's going to take a single here. That's very cleverly done. He just dropped it in front of him, and Crawley was alive and alert to the possibility. And in the end, it was quite comfortable. And that's what England have got to do here, with Crawley 31 off 116 balls, Denley 7 off 32. They've got to find a way of just pushing that score along, not getting sort of stuck, really.
Yes, Crawley committed very early to that, because he could clearly see that he could make his end. And Denley, once he put the afterburners on, was fairly comfortable.
Yeah, it's often if you're the striking batsman, you're looking at your partner and are you coming? Are you coming? Patterson bowls a short one, pulled by Crawley. Didn't get up that high this time. Out to Maharaj, who's on the square leg boundary, and they take a single. England go to 86 for 1.
Leah with the comment, England should restrict Denley's TV privileges and only let him watch Pujara batting until he makes his maiden ton after taking 200 balls for his first 50 runs.
That's a very good point. That's a great idea, isn't it? If you could just, you have to lock your players into a room.
Should they do that for like new debutants coming in? Until your first, second wicket, you get certain restricted privileges in the dressing room.
I think they should. There are certain shots you're not allowed to play. This one is angled in to Denley. Now, I'm not sure why Patterson is holding his hand up as he bowls that.
I think he tried something and he was almost got through there.
Oh, there was, you think
the bat was in the way.
There was a sort of sense of impending triumph. Is that what you're trying to say? Well, it didn't really look.
He was about to go up for the celeb appeal.
Okay.
And peel off towards the the fielders.
Yes, indeed. A close up of little Sammy Curran sitting alongside Ben Stokes. Someone brought in Ben Stokes' new book today. Who brought that in? Patterson in, bowls. Oh, now that was a good ball. It was angled in. It must have just nibbled a little bit off Denley's outside edge. He's managed to fiddle it away through backward point for a couple, but he wasn't really in control of that. That's probably as good a ball as Patterson has bowled. Suggestion of a little bit of leg cut.
I was just thinking whilst we were watching.
It's just held up a little bit, hasn't it?
Given the preponderance of youth in this side, is Sam Curran still the youngest English player in this side now?
Oh, now I think it's going to be a tight one between him and Crawley, actually.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. I think Crawley will be 20. I think I was looking at his stats earlier, and I think I noticed that his birthday is on February the 2nd. So I think Sammy Curran must be the youngest, because he's not.
So he will be playing on his birthday eventually.
Could be. Pulled by Denley. But straight to Maharaj at deep square leg, so just another single.
Because if I'm not wrong, that's the one-day international at Newlands.
Ah, good point. And of course, after that, he's off down under, isn't he, to play in those unofficial test matches in Australia with the Lions. So he's got a busy winter, all in all. And they may be back, of course, to play in Sri Lanka. So he's certainly putting in the air miles. But, yeah, so he'll be 22.
Plant a lot of trees for that lot.
Indeed, indeed. What is his carbon footprint? To work it out. I remember reading many years ago about how many air miles Fleming had done for New Zealand when he was captain of New Zealand. It was just a phenomenal amount of travelling that he put in one
Well, it's a
particular
long
year.
way to anywhere from New Zealand.
Well, that is true. That is true. Maharaj in bowls to Denley. Denley strokes it to the short mid-off. We've got a short mid-off and a shortish extra cover, almost in a line in that offside. He's not too far to the offside of the pitch, the short mid-off. And Maharaj is in again. This time Denley is right forward. Plays it to... Is it Faf in that position? Or is he at slip? I'm not quite sure from this angle. Anyway.
Thought it was Van der Dussen.
Oh, maybe it's Van der Dussen. This is a better ball from Maharaj. He just pulls the length back a little bit, and Denley steers to Elgar, I think. That's more orthodox kind of an extra cover.
He's really made his spin position his own, hasn't he, Maharaj? There's no really anyone else.
Well, you say that, as again it's played to Elgar and there is no run. But I was looking at, is it George Little, who's I think taken 28 wickets. Another a left armer, I think, left arm spinner, has taken 28 wickets in their 4-day competition this summer. He's the leading wicket taker in the competition. This is played square into the offside, and certainly Crawley wanted to come. He got sent back by Denley and had to hurry. The throw came fizzing in, but there was no direct hit. And I'm trying to think now. Muthusamy, is it who was took over from Maharaj? I think got injured or had a really bad second test in India, and then he got replaced. He's also taken quite a few wickets. Horrible shot from Denley, who tries to sweep that from way outside off stump. With the turn, it made it look an even worse shot than it was. He missed it completely.
He hasn't judged that sweep at all well today.
No. Well, I think the first one was Crawley, wasn't it? That we were
that's
talking
true,
about.
Yeah.
But that sweep shot to a ball that's turning away from you. It's a risky one, isn't it?
Only
Top
one
edge. He
real
needs to get a
result
top
for that.
edge.
It's going to go up in the air.
It's going to go up. It could go up into your glove, onto the top of the bat, handle, anything really. It's fine if it's sort of an arm ball, but if you misjudge it, it's the one that's turning. You can be in trouble.
I guess sweeping's the equivalent of hooking a pace bowler, isn't it, for a spinner? If you're a compulsive hooker, I'd say a compulsive sweeper as well.
Yeah, I think I was a bit of a compulsive sweeper. It's almost a shot that when you can't think of any other shot to play, actually. Onto the back foot goes Crawley, a new over begun by Dane Pattinson. It's just a little bit short, plays it into the covers, and there is no run. Patterson into his 9th over.
He's got a bit of rhythm now, Patterson, hasn't he? He seems to have settled down, and maybe he just decided to bowl within himself.
Well, the other thing, there's got to be a lot of expectation on him if you open the bowling with him, hasn't there? And I think we saw it with someone like Nokia in his first test. His first spell wasn't particularly impressive, but he came back well. Patterson in again, bowls, and Crawley helps this with the shape of the balls to mid-on. And again, there's no run. Crawley has 32, Denley has 10. England are 89 for 1. They won the toss, and well, it was a no-brainer, the bat, wasn't it? Although someone said that Faf wasn't sure what he would have done. Well, he'd have been crazy to put England in on this pitch, I think.
I think Patterson's also changed his game plan slightly. I think he's gone wider now, and he's starting to angle in towards the stumps.
And then trying to get it to straighten a little bit, maybe, yeah. Well, he's conceded just the 20 runs in 8.2 overs.
Possibly because that's the easiest way to get the ball through Denley's defence.
He doesn't think he's going to get anything at slip, does he? He's got one slip and a gully. They tending to put people out in front of the bat. This is worked by Crawley to long leg, and they take a single.
Leah, just another comment. England don't look like collapsing for a hilariously low score, so I guess it's a safe bet that Denley won't top score.
Well, now you said that, Leah.
Is that Yeah, the curse.
That
that's
could be
taken
the
a hit.
curse. That could be the curse.
Denley
Well,
on strike this next delivery. What's going to happen here?
no, but I think Lee is a huge fan of Denley, as far as I know. So
I'm sure the bear will be in shortly to tell us what the value bet is.
Patterson then to Denley, and it's a short one which he swivels and works off his hip down once more to long leg, where Rabada is fielding, and they take a single. 91 for 1. Denley's now moved on to 11. Crawley 33 from 120 deliveries. One of the reasons I was looking through Crawley's stats was we were trying to find out had he ever batted for a whole day, and we worked out that his highest first class score was against Glamorgan, 168 in 2018, and he batted until just after the beginning of the final hour of the day. Patterson, short one, and lifted up and over slip, really skillfully played by Crawley. There is no third man. He knew exactly what he was trying to do there. He's done it well. He's picked up 4 runs.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Yeah, lifted the cut shot up and over gully, understanding that he had to get it clear of him, and he get 4 runs. A very, very good shot.
And of course, these two both play for Kent, so the batters are quite a reasonable amount together. In fact, pretty much all of his first-class career.
Yes, when did Denley go back to Kent? Is it 2 years ago? How many seasons has he had back at
I
Kent?
think it's
can't
more
remember.
than 2 years. I think it's 3 or 4.
Oh, really? Okay. He's got a slip and a gully. He's got a square leg just in front of square, a mid-wicket, a mid-on, quite deep, mid-off, quite deep, and a long leg. Patterson in to complete his 9th over to Crawley, who presents the full face of the bat, defends it comfortably back to the bowler, and that is the end of the over. It's 95 for 1. It's almost time for a change. In fact, it may indeed be time for a change. So we will swap round, and who's taking a ball by ball? He's going to be Pralab.
Okay,
Excellent.
let's have some begging.
Alternative cricket commentary, bringing you laughs, bringing you jingles, bringing you joy. We are Gorillas. We need your patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
Welcome back. England 95 for 1 after 43 overs. Closing in on 100 runs there. So Maharaj continues, and his first ball is just defended off the front foot. No run.
Yeah, Dominic Sibley looking a little disconsolate there. I think he realises he's thrown away a good start and a chance for a big score.
Smart bit of field placing by Faf du Plessis.
That's right. A few changes in here as this next ball just pushed out towards mid-on. There will be no run as Denley sort of half hesitated whether he wanted to squeeze a single, but decides it is not worth the effort, and rightly so.
I was having a conversation somewhere last week or two about how batsmen get out. I'll come to it in a moment.
As Maharaj's next delivery outside the off stump, cut away, but straight to the fielder who just tumbles around and stops that one.
A batsman can get out from a poorly conceived stroke or a poorly executed stroke, but most often, of course, a combination of both of those. But where on the spectrum between those?
As this next ball is just defended back towards him.
Yeah, different points where you end up is where you can sort of analyse a decision, or rather a dismissal, and I think that was more towards the poorly conceived rather than poorly executed.
I actually disagree with that slightly.
And this ball beats the outside edge, but well bowled there by Maharaj. A bit of turn there, and Denley surprised by that bounce and turn on that one, but just withdraw his bat at the very end.
There was quite a high...
But no, yeah.
Sorry, Pralab.
No, let's go, continue.
There was quite a high percentage in the stroke that Sibley was trying to play. You know, it was down the leg side. There was no one at the on the long leg boundary.
Just defended off the front foot, no run.
So he was trying to get it to ground quickly and get it past the man at leg gully and pick up certainly 1, probably 2, maybe even 4. What unfortunately happened was that it got him higher on the bat than he was expecting it to. He didn't play the stroke particularly well, and it was a good low catch. I saw what he was trying to do.
Yeah, I did, but I felt the percentages were against him. The man was there almost exactly for that shot, and in conceiving the shot to try and score runs behind square on the leg side with a man in the spot behind square on the leg side. The shot almost has to be executed perfectly. He has to get it down, he has to get it past the man, beat him on one side or the other. And I just felt that, yeah, there was 4 runs to be had, and it was a ball that was down the leg side that looked like it needed hitting for 4. But to me, I think you either glance that or you leave it alone. What you don't do is conceive a shot that you say that you have to more or less get it perfect in order to get your reward.
Yeah, that one might run and rhyme. How long it'll run, I guess, will depend on how many England score. Linux Lear says, "Do not Google Dnepropetrovsk maniacs. You have been warned." Sadly, I did Google, and I can echo Lear. Don't. Arthur
I'm
Patricia.
curious now. What is that?
Serial killers, basically.
Okay,
You
right.
don't need to go any further. In terms of injuries that are appropriately named, talking about Chris Old breaking a rib and ruling himself out of a test by sneezing too violently, we tweeted that's because he had a cold, if you see what I mean.
He was known as Chili, that was his nickname.
And Arthur Patricia says, "Then I don't wish to know how a side bottom got hurt." Trying to do jokes that work on text verbally is quite difficult. The Beijing Ducks says, "Just a sneaky single needed now, almost at a maiden 200 followers. Whoever is 200 will receive a gift. Ooh, surprise gift."
Ooh, gifts are always good. We're just in the middle of a drinks break.
Excuse me. Linux Lear says, "England don't look like collapsing for a hilariously low score, so I guess it's a safe bet that Denley won't top score," and says, "I really like Denley, but it seems to be his fate to only top score when England collapse for something like 48. Yeah, it's an interesting point. Someone who only Ajinkya Rahane had this for a part of his Test career, that he only scored runs when no one else scored any runs, and so his impact, I think, and his quality was sometimes a bit underrated.
It's the anti-Ian Bell, who of course only scored runs when England had a century maker ahead of him.
So goes the popular myth about Ian Ronald Bell, anyway.
Well, it was for a while. His first sort of 15 centuries came in the wake of a previous century, and then he did change. 2015 was very much Bell's ashes.
Well, yes, indeed. And 2010 Joburg was kind of the making of him. I did always feel with Bell that he was slightly being blamed for the fact the top order were really good. Which is not really his fault. Alec Patton says, "Morning, finally able to get online. I'm in discussions with my employer about instituting workplace nap times."
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Beijing Duck CC stuck on 199 followers for what must be 10 minutes. That 200 follower gets a mystery prize. England collapse imminent. And Nestle Boy says, "Here's an odd tech thing. On TuneIn, I can listen to you in the tube, even though I have no signal. See pic, no service." Good. That's all I can say. On Crick Tracker, Anil Valodra says, "South Africa are my favourites to win the Test series," and says, "Hi all commentators, good evening from India." Good evening. Talapati Varian Dinesh is with us. Afghan S is with us. Sudhir is with us. Ezekiel Paulson is with us. Jaya Silan is unhappy about the India's decision. Breaking news that MS Dhoni has been left off the Indian central contract list for the first time since breaking into the team back in 2004.
Expected though, he doesn't play Test cricket. He's not playing ODI cricket. At best, you'd say maybe he's possibly playing T20 cricket.
Yeah, he might have one more T20 World Cup in him, maybe. But maybe there is a big announcement coming from the ever cryptic MS Dhoni. We do have a change at the Park Drive end.
If your number one project is to have yourself a bride, I think I've got your number one guy. He was bought by a franchise when he was buying meat. It's unreal.
As he runs into bowl, his delivery is flicked over the top. The fielder's out towards fine leg, and they'll run through for a single.
It was slightly aerial, but it was way away from any fielder. Yeah, not a great delivery from Anurag Kier to start with.
He's been a bit expensive today when you think about most of the economy rates have been running at best 2 and over. To go for 3 and over at the moment.
Yeah, although I actually thought he was by far the most threatening of South Africa's seamers in the first innings. So those economy rates are a bit misleading because there was a lot well wide of off stump. Yeah. Malali maidens, as they used to be known.
Yeah, the Malali maiden, you can't actually reach the ball to score.
Well, let's see, there's one slip in place, and in this delivery is uppish, just past the diving fielder. He finds the gap again, and he'll come through for another single. Definitely a change in intent post the drinks break.
Yeah, that's to me is the misconceived stroke, because you're leaning on a ball, you're hitting it almost exactly where the fielder is. It's always going to be uppish because it's not a half volley, and you really should be taking that out of your game. Okay, you get a single to the man on the deep mid-wicket boundary, but I think you've got to either play with soft hands and get it squarer, or you've got to really go for it and lift it over mid-on. But that half and half shot, it's going to get you in trouble.
Again, how much of that is execution and how much conception? You know, presumably that wasn't the shot that Denley was trying to play.
Well, it's hard to know what shot he was trying to play because it wasn't a half volley, and he was playing an attacking stroke from it.
As this next delivery is a short one that it probably just comfortable duck underneath.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't a defensive block. It wasn't a tickle round the corner. I mean, it's been a thing of mine for probably the last 10 years or so, that players do hit the ball straight at fielders and often throw their heads back and say, "Oh, I've been caught out." Often they don't look where the fielders are. I mean, Ian Bell used to do that on occasion, and the previous Test match, Rassie van der Dussen did it. They really should. You know, it's about concentration, really, and understanding the rhythm of an innings and knowing when the opposition captain is changing plans and stuff like that. Just don't hit it where the fielders are. Brian Lara was the best at it.
It's not as easy as it looks.
Oh no, it's not. But you see, if you
We'll continue after the next ball. It's a shorter delivery that just gets stuck in the pitch a bit. It was just defended for no run.
But you see, that was a better shot. Or it was a different ball, but he was just trying to drop that. He wasn't trying to score runs off that. Had he tried to score runs off that, then given the ball is sticking in the pitch, it is going to go uppish, and that's where the man is at short mid-wicket.
I'm just working through the percentages, right? You go, if the shot played, what's the reward? And in the shots that you're talking about, maybe a run out there, and I guess it's debatable whether you want to play that shot. But it's also about showing intent to the bowler to make sure that they're not dominating you at times as well. This next delivery just is defended by Crawley, and sort of he half hits it with his pad again to make sure it doesn't roll into the stumps with no run.
The bowler never dominates the batsman more than when he sends them back to the pavilion. But I do take the point.
Well, I mean, if you as a bowler, your good balls are being hit for singles, then you can't create any pressure, and I think that's what there's some of that. There's nothing in a way. There's nothing more dispiriting than a good ball being hit for a single. If you bowl a bad ball and it gets hit for four, so be it.
She comes into bowler's last delivery and is flicked away on the ground straight to the square leg for no run. End of the over. England 97 for 1 after 45.
But yeah, that age-old thing of conception and execution. It's not always easy to tell where that line is. Not always easy to tell where a lot of lines are in cricket. A lot on Crick Tracker. Abhishek Narayan says hello, sir. Vijay says hello. Sunupani says hi. S. John Imamani says hello. Hemant Kashyap asks Kaun jeetaga, who's gonna win. Stick with us and find out, Hemant. Dinesh K. Patel is with us. Buhang Gan is with us. Suraj Kafiye is with us. Imtiaz Ali. Suraj Kafiye has a couple of questions. Your prediction for this match? Again, stick with us and find out. And says, one of the top bowlers in Test cricket, Kahisa Rabada, hasn't been that brilliant today.
We've covered that one.
What may be the reason behind that? Oh, we covered that one. Yeah. Good players have bad days.
As Maharaj continues, and this delivery is defended off the back foot. No run.
The spell after lunch was quite good.
It was,
out with intent. He got his wickets.
He bowled straighter.
Yeah, some culpability in Sibley, but you know you've got to bowl the ball to your field, and he did.
This next ball is just again tossed up a bit more, but defended off the front foot. I also think he's sort of missing. Think back to when he was dominated a lot. Your Dell stand at the other end, and someone, I guess, two bowlers are quite fired up at times and almost like play off the energy of each other, as opposed to kind of flounder in some of the current crew that exists at the moment. And he's probably missing that a bit. As this next ball just loops in and goes into a Yorker towards leg stump that's defended off the front foot out towards mid-on for no run.
Yeah, he's going to be the undisputed leader of the attack at the end of this series when Philander retires. Oh, look, he's taken 12 wickets, 13 wickets now in the series. He's not had a bad series by any means.
It's that sort of that missing sort of extra bit that you often see from Rabada, where he just store fire, which I haven't seen as much this series yet. As Maharaj just dives full strength, full stretch across the pitch, and stops that ball from going past him for no run.
I mean, it's difficult to be at that fever pitch all the time.
I agree. This next delivery was a short mid-off, and it goes towards him for no run.
Ramesh Anantarayanan says, "Good evening from India. Because of you, we can follow cricket wherever we go, and that is exactly what we aim to do." On YouTube, Superbus Staradub says, "Well, it's quote-unquote boring cricket."
This next delivery is defended off the front foot, no run.
But I'd be very glad with this if it were my team batting, indeed. Batting in so many ways is about taking the drama out of a situation. Asad Khan and John M. Boger are also with us on watching on YouTube and on Twitter. Roche, we've been doing this large but athletic 11 and says, needs more Cosgrove. Also, you can never have too many slip fielders. The Beijing Ducks have got their 200th follower and are sending someone a rubber duck sending that 200th follower a rubber duck to celebrate. Arthur Patricia says, not able to listen in at the moment, but I assume you're all bemoaning Sibley falling 8 runs shy of a test average of 40. Cursed! And Linux Lear says, both sides playing for the draw on day one to make sure Joburg is a thriller. Pretty risky gambit from England, given the fact that they are one spicy meal away from fielding a fourth 11.
It's just the intent of cricketers going, we don't want to play a 4-day test cricket, so they're going to make sure they bat for at least 4 days. So the decision is in the 5th day. As this next delivery is short of a length, but just pushed out towards square leg for no run.
Yeah, it's just a kind of defensive push there rather than the attacking push. Means the ball drops well in front of the fielder. I mean, it is sticking in the pitch. They do have to be careful here as the camera picks out Jared Kimber in the TalkSport booth there. The what I do feel is if England are say 130 for 1 at tea, then that's a platform to push on in the third session of the day. If they're 140 for 3, that's less of a platform.
Logic comes in a short delivery, well wide down sort of leg side, so Crawley's got no issues, just simply dropping his bat and letting that one go.
It looks like the two fast men, Nuhi and Rabada, have both had this. The plan appears to be the same for both of them. It's back of a length and into the body, and they've got that square leg sort of in a catching position, and the sort of squarish mid wicket in a catching position as well for that one that Crawley works off his pads in the air in front of square there, and Crawley so far has not been able to find the gaps that there are in the leg side field.
Stuckey comes into a short delivery again, well left, and I guess when you're not getting that much lateral movement, it's not about tactic, and it is frustrating the batsman.
Yeah, for sure. You've got to try something, don't you? On our own Facebook page, facebook.com/Guerrilla Cricket, Mohammed Thaib says, very nice. Mohammed Khidri Hassan is with us, and Warren Davis says, good morning from East Aurora, New York.
Good morning.
And we have our friend Roger McCann watching on our own Facebook feed. Always good. Hope you're well, Rog, you and yours.
The wild card, which isn't in play yet, but may emerge.
We'll continue after this next delivery, which is a fuller ball that is now a gap. They do find a gap now, and they'll run through for a single.
Again, not played with any great force there, so they risk less. But the reverse swing, we haven't seen much sight of it yet. Of course, it may emerge a little later. The outfield is fairly green, but we know that surface is dry, and we know that Patterson has been selected at least in part because he's a reverse swing guy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we see anything pop up. Like there was a bit of swing at times he's demonstrated, but maybe another 10 overs.
Maybe, as you say, it is a dry surface and quite an abrasive surface. We have seen the South Africans throwing the ball in on the bounce to try and rough up one side of the ball, which a lot of teams do to try and accelerate the onset of reverse swing.
He comes in a fuller delivery that just picks up a bit off the pitch and then checks the shot and just plays it softler towards mid-off, and there is no runs.
Yeah, and if you want to know why scoring rates are in the 2-point-somethings rather than the 3-point-somethings, that ball is a good indicator, because Denley certainly shaped to hit that as an extra cover drive, and then, as you said, the ball sort of stops a bit in the pitch and he slightly checks his shot, and it ends up just sort of going gently to the fielder. On a quicker wicket, he'd have played through the line there, it would have sped across the outfield for 4.
Definitely. Last delivery, another short delivery down the leg side that is left alone for no run.
Denley does pick out the fielders a lot with pleasant strokes into the offside along the ground.
He does. He and James Vince.
Denley doesn't seem too bothered by it, which is to his credit, but that little bit of bottom hand every now and again, a little bit less orthodoxy can be to your benefit, I think, sometimes missing the field. Rob Sutton says, have we had former Northants captain David Sales for the Fatties but Athletic 11?
Oh, Jumble. No, I don't think we have, but he'd be in them.
Yeah, you'd say so. I mean, it's interesting seeing the changing professionalism of cricket, and nowadays you wouldn't really have those types of cricketers, at least in the international sphere. But you do miss them.
I mean, there's a few out there. Vernon Philander's got a bit of a...
Yeah,
something
bit
obviously,
of a-
Raheem Cornwall's just been...
that is true, actually.
Called
you
into the West
mentioned that.
Indies team.
As Maharaj continues a short delivery, that Crawley's got all the time in the world to come back and cut towards and run through for a single. He moves to 40, as England moved to 99 for one.
Very nicely judged single.
Yeah, that's what England's got to do a bit more of. It was a short ball, and if you can't punch it for 4, you've really got to find a way of getting the single there. And England did there, but they probably got room to improve their strike rotation.
As his next ball is defended off the front foot by Denley for no run.
Yeah, I think Joe Denley can... it's something he can improve on. There's probably... a run maybe every 2 or 3 overs that he misses out on to not finding a gap.
Or just again defended off the front foot out towards the point region for no run.
Because he is almost aggressively textbook Joe Denley.
He is. He does. He does show a lot of, I guess, momentum with his stroke play, and often means that sort of deft touches you can get, where you just either side of the fielder may escape in that times when he could have done that otherwise. This time he doesn't pierce the gap at all, and ends up looking straight to the fielder.
Essentially,
cover each other.
there's basically 2 catching shorter extra covers, very close to each other in the offside.
Let's see what Maharaj has in play here. Its balls are slightly fuller, but Denley's comfortable just ensuring that there is no run there.
I'm not backing Denley at all. I've grown to...
That ball could have been shifted
Yes,
around.
square of the wicket. Square of the wicket. There's a massive gap at square leg.
There's no reason not to, and he almost checked his stroke and hit it exactly straight to where the fielder was, rather than shift it slightly around. And it would have been a risk-free shot all the way on the ground. As its next ball is, he smashes it on the offside, where there are those 2 fielders that Knuckle just pointed out. Ends up hitting one of them, and there is no run.
Yeah, he's definitely getting bottled up a bit here, Denley. He's getting a little anxious, and I think the answer is not to try and hit the ball for 4, but as you say, just break the wrists on the point of contact and get it just that 3 or 4 yards to the right or left of those infielders. Quite difficult on the offside, but the onside is the opportunity. And there was a ball drifting down the onside there, and I say that was that one ball every couple of overs or so that should go for a single.
And we all spotted it at the same time.
Yeah, we did.
Easier said than done. Brian Lara is probably the best I've seen. VVS Lakshman was superb. Smith and Coley are brilliant at it in the modern era. Ocelot of Doom says, greetings from sunny Amsterdam. Long-time listener, first time as a patron. Welcome to the Patron Club. Patreon.com/Guerrilla Cricket. At any donation level, help the show. You'll get our podcast before anyone else, and as I say, you'll help secure the long-term future of Guerrilla Cricket. Back the Gorillas is off my New Year's resolution list. #fuck the tragedy of commons. Not sure what that means. Beijing Ducks CC says, if 4-day tests are a no-go now, can we suggest that in future, instead of tests, everyone play the 1,000? Consists of 2 500-ball innings per team, with outfielders in the stands on bungee wires, a la Thunderdome style. No LBWs and only 4s and 6s being scored.
As Enoki runs into ball, this delivery short of a length, defended off the back foot for no run.
We've got to give Faf a bit of credit here. I was bagging him a lot in that first session. I thought he made a number of poor decisions, but they have regrouped over lunch, and you can see there was a plan to get Sibley out, and Rabada, as the gun bowler, did that. He beat him a couple of times in the over in which he did induce the false stroke, and now they're kettling these 2 batsmen in. There are tight fields. There's nobody who's sort of 3/4 of the way back offering an easy single, and they're bowling to plans here. This is good stuff from the South Africans.
A wide delivery down the leg side that Crawley gets on top of. Slightly toe ends it, but he ends up going past the keeper, and it goes for 4 runs.
Immediately I said you get almost the worst ball of the day.
that's exactly the kind of ball, if you're a bit tentative, you could end up just gloving to the keeper, but Crawley got, as you say, just enough bat on it, just sort of caught up with it as it sped past him. Yeah, they've got, as you say, that leg side field's in very close. There's the catching backward square leg a bit closer than a regular square leg. There's 2 catching mid-wickets fairly in front of square. Nokia got his line wrong.
Yeah, it was a nice roll of the wrists over the ball to keep it down there from Crawley. Good technique.
As Nokia's next delivery is slightly fuller and more towards the offside, but it's just defended by Crawley.
I was talking earlier about how sometimes playing the short ball on a slower pitch can be tricky because the bouncer doesn't get up as much as you're expecting, and you can get hit a little bit like Steve Smith was at Lord's. That's the downside, though, is that a short ball down the leg side, whereas a quicker pitch can take the top edge and take the glove, is that much easier to play on a slower pitch. So the blanket is never big enough.
100's up.
100 is up, yeah. England moved to 103 for 1. That took a while with that boundary as its next ball.
Ooh, really?
Crawley, it's a short delivery, and Crawley almost tries to uppercut it, sort of out of position as well, but he ends up missing the ball, which is probably good for him because I think he would have fitted that if he had got the.
I don't have a problem with the uppercut, and it's if you get enough bat on it, it's a perfectly safe shot, but not at that line.
Not there, yeah. It need to be slightly more outside off stump, and it's slightly shorter as well for him to attempt that shot.
Yeah. My problem with the uppercut is that you're guessing a little bit because you're trying to hit the ball as it's going past you. You know, the eyes are almost at 90 degrees to where your contact point is, and that's why you see it missed a lot. So, an edge or even off the face to the keeper is a possibility. It's a perfectly legitimate shot in the one-day game for sure.
This next ball is played uppishly, and it's been caught.
Exactly.
So,
good catch.
Great catch there. Crawley departs for 44. He's played that to the square leg, and it's been really well caught. I think it was dipping on him. It was travelling quite fast, but he's basically fallen to the same trap as his fellow English compatriot.
It's 2 almost identical dismissals hitting the ball to the fielder, placed there
straight
for
to the fielder, and great one. So it was he went with a one hand, did he? And then actually bounced out of his first hand and went to the other hand, but he grabs onto 2, and it's a good catch in the end.
Oh dear, Zach.
You
Walling into
silly
the trap.
little boy, what on earth were you playing at?
Just
Well,
don't hit
for
it to the
Rand to come in
fielders.
now.
Just don't hit it to the fielders.
I think that's every batsman there. But look, there was a clear plan in place. So I do wonder when you've seen your mate go out the exact same way, what benefit do you have, particularly when you've just scored 4 runs off the same over?
Yeah, it was a bit of inexperience there from the 21-year-old. Let's hope that he learns from that.
Yeah, but the planning coming off for South Africa, they slightly outthought Zach Crawley, or thought him out, if even. Zach Crawley gone for 44, falling short of his mate in Test 50, 203 minutes, 137 balls. He's done some of the job that you want in a Test opener. He's certainly eaten up time, as did Dominic Sibley, with 5 fours in that innings. A very good catch by Rossi van der Dussen diving to his right. He dropped a couple of very simple slip catches in the first Test, but he's taken a couple of good ones in the out of the cordon.
So, shall we jingle up England's captain?
His voice is high-pitched and ginger hair like a pict, but massive runs he has hit, so there's that. Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root, actually.
It is Mr. Joe Root coming in at number 4. Good opportunity here for South Africa to really kind of just see if we can get the skipper out early. A solid average of 48.41. I think Root will be well trying to ensure he can shift that back up towards post 50 if he can. But for now, it will just be about supporting, seeing what the pace of the pitch is and ensuring he doesn't do anything rash or fall into one of those leg side traps that South Africa has quite well executed post lunch. He's in to face his first delivery. So he comes into bowl a slightly fuller ball, just defended quite well by Root, and that is no run.
Yeah, well, Root wants to bat at 4, and he wants to bat behind a solid set of openers, and he's got that opportunity now. So, I mean, I'm not saying he's guaranteed to score the runs, but this is very much what he wanted, and he's got that. I think he really has to cash in here, and he should be looking to bat, obviously, to the close of play. But if he's sort of 55 not out at the close, I think he will have done his job.
Yeah, obviously it makes everyone's job a lot easier in the middle order and lower down when your top three is functioning, and England is beginning to function even with the injury to Rory Burns. What else do we have on the Twitter? Mike Mihal Wood says, wait, who was the tweeter runner from Amsterdam? Put us in touch. I have no one to watch games with here. It was the Ocelot of Doom, Mike Mihal Wood. Linux Lear says, Denley faces an average of over 76 balls an innings, which certainly has to count for something in this age of the English top order, quote-unquote, playing their natural game, doesn't it?
This first ball just defended off the front foot. No run.
Yeah, Maharaj is seemingly locked in there at the duck pond end.
You wouldn't mind Rabada be given an over to see what he can bring. As this next ball is cut away for no run.
I think with Joe Root on, I'd be getting Werner Philander on.
Yeah, I think so too. Just get him wanting
nibbling
to be,
outside off.
Yeah, busy outside off stump. A bit like Coley when he starts. He's looking to get the scoreboard ticking over.
Next ball, he's slightly looped up a bit more. Maharaj has been varying his pace reasonably well, but that is no run.
Yeah, he's bowled very well here, Maharaj.
Yeah, although there is the slight, I think Faf massively over-bowled Keshav Maharaj in 2 long spells and completely broke his confidence at Cape Town. You've got to be careful you don't do that here.
This delivery is more towards the middle stump line, and it is defended comfortably by Denley for no run.
Well, his confidence is pretty good if you've bowled 14.4 overs, none for 14.
Oh, yeah, I think it's coming back.
And Denley takes a bit of a stride forward, but he just reaches the pitch of the ball and instead of driving it, just defends it off the front foot.
Yeah, hands in the air there from Maharaj. I think he wanted Denley playing forward to that, but he dropped it just that bit shorter in the hope that the ball would go slightly aerial, but Denley had the beating of him.
Defended again by Denley. Happy to defend that one straight back to him.
Good stuff from Maharaj.
Good over. Yeah, none for 14 off his 15.
We need a maiden jingle, really. We've got jingles for all.
We do have a couple.
Yeah.
We do have a couple. They're they are in play.
But England 103 for 2 after 50 overs.
Sorry, brother. Ocelot of Doom and Peter Lloyd both enlightened me as to the tragedy of the commons. A situation in a shared resource system where individual users, acting independently according to their own self-interest, behave contrary to the common good of all users by depleting or spoiling, presumably, the resources.
Yeah, so it was often described referring to fish when a group of people sort of went in there and took out all the fish. Obviously, the fish can replenish itself and you lose out on the fish in the wrong run. But that, I believe, was what the tragedy of the commons originally referred to.
You're listening to Fisherman's World.
There's the free rider concept in game theory as well, isn't it? To explain to my kids the other day.
As Nucky comes in, slightly leg shy delivery out towards that backward square leg, and there is no run. Denley trying to back up a bit, but gets sent back as the throw comes out in the scene.
That's another one of the advantages on a slow pitch, because that was just deflected, but because it's coming onto the bat so slowly, it comes off the bat slowly, and so your fielder can be quite close in there at backward square and still cover quite a bit of the angle, because it's not sort of coming off the bat so quickly that the fielder can't get round to it.
On the offside too, it's noticeable that the close fielders, I mean, obviously there's a few kind of almost in catching positions, but even the sort of the backward point, who'd be almost 30 yards back on a quicker pitch, is a good 5 or 7 yards closer to the bat on this pitch, which I think is correct.
And I've found the maiden jingle, so I'll use that next time.
Excellent. We wait for this. This full delivery that is down the leg side. There's a half appeal for a caught behind down the leg side, but the umpire's not interested. Is Faf interested in reviewing that? No, I think he missed the bat clearly. But it was interesting. He did play that flick shot, which is we've got a few fielders out there for that. But it was quite full. I mean, he ends up missing it completely.
Yeah, and I think I may be wrong here, but I think he was looking to deflect it rather than middle it. The problem with both openers is they've tried to middle the ball, not timed it, as not many shots have been timed off the middle, and the man who's put there for the slightly mistimed shot has caught it.
Okay, a short delivery that Root just swivel pulls it straight to square leg for no run.
Yeah, interesting again there. Root has hit the ball deliberately down rather than trying to hit it harder, where it's obviously aerial for a bit longer, albeit it's a different kind of stroke. It's just that
but it's the intent that you see behind it, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to do that every delivery. It's with soft hands or to nudge it as opposed to hit it.
Yeah, and it's just the way bowlers have to find their right lines and lengths for a pitch. Sometimes batsmen have got to find their right set of strokes for a pitch.
Or weight of stroke.
A weight of
stroke, isn't it? He comes in a full delivery that is driven straight to mid-off for no run.
And that's where England, I think, have missed out. Okay, Root's very early in his innings. They haven't really hit the half volleys. There haven't been a huge number of them, but they could have done with hitting the half volleys past the fielders to the boundary a little more often than they have.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously there is a certain amount of putting the work in now that will pay off later with loose deliveries, which is all well and good, and that's how a lot of great test innings are built.
As he comes into bowl, this is a full delivery, slightly slower, and there's a bit of inward movement as well, but Root is happy to get his bat behind it for no run. We'll have a change at the end of this over. We've got another delivery left in this. England doing reasonably well at the moment, 103 to 2.
It's a slide out and a shuffle. Gary's going to go into ball by ball. I'm going to swap over to the jingle chair, and Tony Bishop is going to come in and replace me on tweets.
As Root takes his guard, the field's going out slightly a few steps at the moment as he runs into ball, and this delivery is down the leg side, and Root is just placing it really well, just getting at the top of it, making sure it's grounded, so even if it does go towards square leg as it did that last ball, it takes a few bounces to get there rather than straight aerial, which ends up getting caught like his compatriots.
I think while Gary gets into position, I'll just read out our last couple of tweets to make sure that we're up to date. Beijing Duck CC says, good to see South Africa working to a plan on this slow, lifeless pitch. I think lifeless is a bit harsh. England take note. Well, bad is that going to need a route to take root to keep England batting for the rest of the day. And Jessica says, trying to decide if I go to bed at 11 p.m. here or continue listening to Guerrilla Cricket, as though that's a real choice.
And it was interesting that Root, after he played that shot very much down, even though it was directed towards backward square, he kind of rehearsed the shot again, sort of forcing himself into the muscle memory of getting the hands over the ball, ensuring it goes along the ground to the man. So even though that leg side ball on most pitches is a run scoring opportunity, we've also seen in this session that it's also slightly dangerous. Maharaj wheeling away here, and he's met with a forward defensive by Joe Denley, and there is no run. Denley on 69 deliveries here. He does eat up the deliveries, which is what we've all been asking for, so we shouldn't complain, as Keshav Maharaj is fuller, and Denley for once manages to hit that gap square of the wicket and rotate the strike. Hands on head from Maharaj there, because he's trying to bottle up Denley, and he's done so successfully so far, but give credit to Denley, he saw a chance to rotate the strike, and he did.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. You know, a school coach would say play that with the top hand, the number 9 shape, but instead no, slightly breaks the wrists, uses the bottom hand, gets it into the gap, hits the ball where the fielder is not.
Yeah, and as you've said on some of my comments, and you're absolutely right, Knuckle, it sounds easy when we say it like that. It's rather harder to do it in the pressure cooker in the middle there. But we are, these are specialist batsmen, top order specialist batsmen, and these are the challenges that test matches offer that are not offered in other formats of the game, and they're there to meet them. So Joe Root facing up to Maharaj for the first time, and he gets a decent ball on middle stump, and he comes forward and defends it. Again, I think probably in the third session of the day, I think we might see more aggressive stroke played to that ball, because it was almost a half volley. Not quite. Maharaj is in, and Root sweeps. It's a top edge, and it falls just short of the man coming in from square leg. It's Nokia, and he is smiling ruefully, as is Quinton de Kock there. It was a strange shot from Root. He played across the line. It was an LBW chance. It was a court chance. It was extremely high risk. I mean, I know Maharaj has bowled a lot of maidens here, but it was a top edge from a premeditated sweep. What's he playing at?
Well, I'm going to give some credit to Maharaj there, because the line was there to sweep. It was outside off stump. Maharaj got the ball to dip.
This is defended by Root, no run.
He tossed it up above the island and then crucially got the ball to the dip. So the ball wasn't as full as Root was expecting. It dipped on him. He recognised that it dipped on him. He tried to, I think, rather than going through with the shot, which he might have been better off doing.
Denley defends this into the leg side, no run.
And really trying to hit the ball hard and sort of drag it in front of square. He tried to change the stroke and ended up as rotating the wrist too early, it took that top edge. He was very lucky there. He was out bowled. I think he was beaten in the flight by Keshav Maharaj.
Well, he's off the mark with a single, but it was anything but an orthodox one. Your tweets.
Mike Mihal Wood, who's in a conversation with the Ocelot of Doom, says not much use in January, but I'll be looking for company come Netherlands versus Pakistan in July. Currently walking the dog out to Amstelveen and sitting by the boundary on my own. Oh dear. Oh dear. The Beijing Ducks say, Guerrilla Cricket, is that the late Neolithic food expert psychic of Ray Mears just joined you? And he showed a picture of someone, but I'm not sure who the someone is. It's a gentleman with a beard.
Presumably it's Ray Mears.
Well, I don't know.
Is he comparing you to Ray Mears?
Is it me?
I think it might be. I hope it's not me.
Well, I hope it's not me as well.
I haven't that much grey hair.
The late Neolithic food expert psychic of Ray Mears just joined. Well, maybe it is me. Let me know. Although I have to say that gentleman looks older than me, but who knows?
Nokia is in, and this is defended by Root slightly off the back foot, but they've certainly got these field placing sorted out. On a slow pitch, you can be just that couple of yards closer in the infield. And England are kettled like the 7th Army of the Wehrmacht in Russia.
Or indeed like protesters on a bridge.
Protesters on a bridge. The rather less than exciting follow-up to Snakes on a Plane.
Also with us is Ashok Vardhan, who says hello.
Hello.
And I don't know if we said hello to Rahul Gupta, but we're saying it now.
105 for 2, and we haven't brought you the score for a while, partly because it's been somewhat static, and that's a poor ball from Nokia that goes way down the leg side, and I'm not sure what shot Root was supposed to play to that. Should have been called wide, but wasn't. It's attempted slower ball, didn't come off. So we've got a backward square leg, we've got a short mid-wicket, we've got a more conventional mid-wicket, we've got a mid-on, we've got a backward point, we've got an extra cover.
Deep square leg.
Deep square leg. The run scoring opportunity is certainly sort of square on the offside if you can just cock the wrist to get it down there, take a single. Root attempts another horizontal bat shot, which I don't think is a good idea, and the ball keeps too low, taken on the pad, and it runs past Quinton de Kock to the boundary for one of these. Well, it's actually
And how many?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Did he get a little bottom edge on that? It didn't take him on the pad. It sort of hit him in the sort of kidney region because it got a little higher. But I'm slightly disconcerted here that Root has come out. He did get a bottom edge on it. Root's come out with the idea of playing horizontal bat shots, and this is not a horizontal bat shot wicket, I promise you.
Well, part of the telltale, that would have been 3 wickets down the leg side, behind the bat. It's quite unusual for 2 openers to fall in an identical manner. Whilst that would have been different, it would have been still a leg side miss shot.
As Root gets in and defends this ball, and I can understand what Root's doing here. South Africa are on top, and they have bowled they bowled as well in this session actually as they bowled poorly in the first one. But I do think there's a chance for England just to sit in the game a little bit, take bowlers into their 3rd and 4th spells. We know Philander's not so good after tea. Dane Patterson's on debut and doesn't look much. I think that Maharaj will have to be spelled soon. And, that's when the opportunity comes, not trying to force the game now, as Root's in defending this slightly off the back foot, no run.
I understand what he was trying to do. There is a gap at square leg, so he was just trying to help the ball into that gap and take an easy single, but evidently you can't quite trust the bounce. And also, he was genuinely beaten to pace by Nokia.
Yeah, and there's a bit of two-pacedness in this pitch, albeit those two paces are slow and very slow. There's nothing really flown. Maybe one got up a little bit in the first session, but it's tricky to score. Nokia is in again, and this is short, and Root hits this in the air. Again, it was a pull shot, it was short, but there was no conviction in the shot at all. And it all but helped it round the corner to the man at backward square. It was to his left, but as an indicator of just how little bat and little conviction there was in the shot, it sort of dribbled out to the man coming in from the square leg boundary, and they went through for one. Had he got slightly different connection, that would have been 3 in a row at backward square.
Yeah, he's not in control of that stroke. You've got two options, I think, if you're going to pull. You either wait for it, help it round the corner like Crawley did, or you Ricky Ponting style on the front foot, hit it up and over mid-wicket.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. You've got to go either fine or you've got to go up. What you can't do is go half and half.
Few messages.
What Luke was doing that.
Amjad Khan says, hi commentators, that's on YouTube, so hello to you.
Hi.
Beijing Ducks say, yes it is me. Gordon Hillman apparently is whom I look like. Apologies, YouTube adds grey hair.
Silly mid-off is now even closer as Denley comes forward, goes back and does attempt just to break the wrists there, but he can't. It's Root, yeah, fair enough. And goes to Vernon Philander lurking in the John T. Rhodes position, an unlikely place
he
for him.
shaped to play the paddle sweep and then adjusted his stroke.
Yeah, because there is time with this wicket. Maharaj, 16.1 overs, none for 16. He has bowled well. And Root plays the shot that he's been looking for. That's the Ian Bell shot, really. It's a late cut. And it's a very clever shot on this surface because it goes to third man boundary for
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that was very delicately played indeed by Joe Root. You note that he's trying to and managed to hit the ball straight down into the pitch, so it zips past slip before they can do anything about it.
Yeah, it was Ian Bell played that shot particularly well towards the end of his career, and there's not much Maharaj can do with that because that's a decent ball been hit for 4. And this one though is driven to extra cover where Dean Elgar does the fielding. We'll come to your tweets at the end of the over. It's a particularly interesting spell of cricket here. England 114 for 2 because the initiative is being wrestled for. Root on 10, and he gets one on the leg side and again just finds with a very dead bat a little bit of space to squeeze a single. Good play from Root after a shaky start.
We've talked a lot in the last year and a half, really, since Root took over the captaincy, of how he's diminished as a player, and certainly he's not at the heights he was. He's no longer in the very elite group, but he is still a cut above most other players in this England team, and that shot is an indication of why.
As Denley can't get the ball into a gap, and Big Vern comes round from backward point and foolishly attempts to affect a run out, or perhaps just to stop Root from backing up too far, and it needed a good piece of backing up from Duplessis to avoid the concession of 4 runs. Last ball of this over from Maharaj. Although the South Africans have clearly come out and said, throw the ball to the bowler's end. We don't want them backing up too far. And this is a rank long hop. Again, Denley can't get past the man. He could really have hit that anywhere, and he couldn't get past Elgar at extra cover. It's the end of the over. England 115 for 2. Root has 11. Denley has 13. And Tony has your tweets.
I do indeed. Rory 79 Australia, or AU, says... the band and that twit whistling incessantly make the Sky commentary unlistenable. Thank heavens for you guys. Well, glad you're with us, Rory. Mike Mihal Wood says, Knuckle, if you're referring to the 2010 student process, I was on that bridge. Gary, I wasn't. Contrary to rumours, part of the 7th Army of the Wehrmacht on the Eastern Front. Gerrit Dusseldorp says, stop talking about mobile phones. My Afrikaans, assuming Nokia is an Afrikaans name, is not perfect, but I think it should not be pronounced Nokia, rather Norkia. Which is true, and I think, well, yes, it's Norkia. We had a lot of discussion about this. Nor, as in Norway, and Kia, as in IKEA. Norkia.
Nokia.
I cannot help but see a giant mobile phone running on a lawn every time he bowls. Linux Leah says, did you mean the 6th Army, Gary, the one that surrendered in Stalingrad, the 7th only fought in the West?
Oh, okay, fair enough. I was only one out, but thank you for that. That's one of the good things about Guerrilla.
He'd make a great military general. There's only one out. That would be fine.
We have such a knowledgeable audience.
He is the very model of a modern Major General. Yeah. And speaking of marshalling the troops, we were talking about this change at the Park Drive end. The seamers rotate again.
Oh, well, I'm the type of guy who will never settle down. Where pretty girls are, well, you know that I'm around. I kiss a man, I love him, 'cause to me they're all the same.
And it's Big Vern who's in, and this keeps a little low, and Root's back defending, no run. sounds like Richard Nixon on
I
the
sleep
Watergate
around,
tapes.
around.
I just finished that point there. I'm never too bothered about factual information when I'm making allusions at guerrilla cricket, because if I do get it wrong, say the knowledgeable audience will instantly tweet in and correct me, and I welcome those corrections. For me to have to wait and then Google it and find out it's the 6th rather than the 7th Army, well, the moment's gone. But you guys are very good with
Richard Nixon fit into that?
Well, he just sounded like him on the tapes there with that jingle. As this ball is defended into the offside, no run, just one slip for Big Vern.
They didn't have a slip at all for Anrich Norkia. They'd taken the slip out and just had a gully to reinforce the leg side. Norkia noticed that the plan appears to be 4 over spells for the Seamers. It's quite a hot day out there in Port Elizabeth. It's just shy of 30 degrees and about 66% humidity. I just looked that up. But Rabada, then Patterson, then Norkia all bowled 4 over spells.
And there's a little bit of breeze, so there is some respite for the quicks as this ball is defended. We've now got one slip, and there's a man at sort of 4th slip. I would be very inclined to put him at 2nd. There's always lots of catches go to 2nd slip, and if you get Root on the drive, he's going to drive quite hard, and therefore the deflection that goes to 2nd slip, even on a slow pitch, is in the game.
Although he has to be a bit finer because Quinton de Kock's up to the stumps and therefore can't cover as much ground as he might otherwise be able to.
I definitely want to... I would want sort of an authentic 1st and 2nd rather than the 1st and 4th that we've got now.
Or but has that 2nd slip gone out into a catching position in front of the wicket? Yes, in fact they have.
As Vern's in, this one ducks in a little bit. No reverse swing yet for Big Vern, but it goes square on the offside, where England... There's always a gap there square on the offside, and England need to hit it more often and take the single that Root got. He has 12 from 23. Denley has 13 from 74, but he's doing a job. Big Vern now into double figures. He has none for 10 in his 7th over.
Yeah, so they've got the short extra cover, the catching square leg and the catching mid-wicket as well. So all bases are covered to some extent by Faf du Plessis.
Denley looks up, and it's very slow from Vern there. The ball just dribbles into the covers, and there is no run. Denley's average number of balls faced, I think, was around where he's at now, 75. So again, I'm not too bothered about 13 off 75. I'd be more concerned if he's 26 off 150. I think he does need to cash in a little in the 3rd session of the day.
I mean, to be fair, if someone else is scoring at 3 and a bit and over at the other end, then 25 off 150 or whatever is perfectly serviceable.
Just about, but this ball takes an inside edge from Denley, dribbles out into the leg side. There is no run. It's only if there are additional risks being taken by the guy at the other end. And your tweets?
Beijing Duck says, Duck's prediction, are famous for always being wrong. Root out OBW to Maharaj trying to sweep. Rabada then picks up 2 quick wickets. Well, the trying to sweep one, I agree. I'm not sure about the 2 that would follow immediately, but not that unlikely, I suppose. Steve, well, that's part of the conversation with Mike Miholwood, Guerrilla Cricket and others. Says, I won't be at Netherlands versus Pakistan, but I'll be at some of the quadrangular with Oman, US, Namibia, presumably some games at the VRA. Iceland Cricket has sent out not only a picture of us at work with the bear sort of looking slumped in a relaxed way and reading his phone. Says, do you need live non-geoblock cricket commentary? Show some love to our official media partner, Guerrilla Cricket. They've run a fundraising competition. They've even broadcast live from an Iceland game. They're talented, irreverent and brilliant.
Thank you, friends.
Well.
Yes.
We'll take that.
My prediction is that the scoring rate will rise if South Africa take the 2nd new ball, because it's one of those situations in which a 2nd new ball may travel. As this ball is defended, no run. Okay, that's some way in the future, but it looks to me like that hardness of the new ball will benefit the batsmen at least as much as the bowlers.
Yeah, ironically, South Africa could bowl... I mean, they could scarcely bowl worse than they did with the 1st new ball, but they could bowl considerably better with the 2nd new ball and go for more runs.
Oh, yes, I absolutely think so. Maharaj is in. It goes back, does Root, and he gets a little inside edge onto the pad. He should have been forward to that one. Maharaj is beating Root in the flight here.
He's beating him in the flight in both directions. I don't think he could have gone forward to that because it dipped on him,
Yeah,
and he would
maybe
never have
so.
got there. That's very well bowled.
It was quite full of a length, though. I mean, he wouldn't have had to gone that far forward to be up to it, but it's well bowled. This is down the leg side. It's not so well bowled unless it was a deliberate ploy, and Quinton de Kock was round on the leg side looking for the stumping quite quickly, so it may have been. But Maharaj is winning the battle here with Root.
Yeah, Root just needs to get a single and get up the other end.
Yeah, I
That's
think he
a lovely
does.
take by Quinton de Kock. His footwork is superb.
Maharaj is in again, and Root does play the shot I was looking for to the ball that he went back to, because he did come forward and smother ball and spin. The only thing about that is that there is no way he's scoring a run if he plays that shot over and over again. 2 balls left in the over. It's been a very good one for Maharaj. He's in again, and this one is a little too short, and Root doesn't need much of an invitation if he's got width to go back, and he just dabs really the ball to backward point, and they're through for a single.
This deep backward point to Joe Root is something that South Africa have used quite a few times, going back to when they were last in England. However, in that situation, I'm not sure it was the wisest idea.
I agree with you. I think it's too easy a single to any ball that's got any width or any anything short about it. And I think you can afford to be more of a saving one, as Denley defends. Ball goes back to Maharaj. 18 overs from Maharaj and on for 22. England 117 for 2.
Strange Carrots says, oh, come on now. I had to sit with a colleague for 2 minutes. That was all. Wicket. Now I know it's my fault. Sorry. Gits and Gratz says, read the correct connected Norkia pronunciation. Now I'm going to think Norks, which I know is, which if you know Aussie slang, is pretty much what I think every time anyway. And then he's every day anyway. And he's also sent a relevant little graphical device to reinforce that point. Linux Leah says, yes, I own this. And it looks like an 8-part history of the war. Either in video or book format. I think that's book format, isn't it? Because they're different thicknesses of
video.
There might be VHSs.
Do they?
Yeah, it was getting a little bit The World at War for a second.
VHSs or books, Leah?
Philander is in, and Root gets one that would have hit the top of off stump, and he squirts it to the Jonty Rhodes position, where Philander, fortunately for Philander, is not fielding at backwards point, and therefore no single is conceded.
You do see some odd choices of fielders at backward point to spinners, because it's not a position that's quite as much in the game as it is off the seamers.
Yeah.
I've seen Ishant Sharma at backward point to Jadeja or Ashwin before.
Yeah, that is a curious combination, isn't it? But you're right. It doesn't go there. It doesn't go there with the same speed as well off the spinner. But it's Big Vern, who's very much medium pace. It's pretty much a medium pace all day, actually. But he does have a lot of brains, and he does have a lot of wobble, and a little inside edge there from Root, whose footwork is indeterminate. I think you've got to be forward to that, Joe. He just sort of stood offside of the ball and offered his hands at it, which is why it took the inside edge.
Yeah. And again, you know, it's another, these little sort of reactions and cat and mouse battles with the cock up to the stumps. Root can't stand as far forward as he wants to. He can't get as far forward as he wants to. Quinton de Kock is perfectly capable of executing a stumping off Werner Philander, and so he's just sort of jabbing from the crease.
Yeah, I think he's just got to get that front foot towards the line of the ball, even if he can't get it towards the pitch. Or he's limited in how far he can go forward towards the pitch. This is a shorter ball, and Root again really jabs the bat down on the ball rather than playing it with much conviction, and gets an inside edge, but it squirts out to the man at slip.
He's just got to get through this, hasn't he? Can't be too long till tea.
No, it won't be.
We saw a drone shot of the coastline of just outside Port Elizabeth early on, which reminded me of Tuesday, which I spent in the cinema, or at least part of Tuesday. I'll come back to that in a moment. Because Big Vern is on his way in, and this ball's slower ball outside off stump. A little tempter there for Root, but he left it alone. I saw 1917 Sam Mendes film, and believe the hype. It really is an astonishing technical achievement, and the form follows function, because it's filmed as one long take. It obviously isn't all done in one take, but that's part of the story it tells of one man's mission. An extraordinary film. As Big Vern's in, and this is defended by Root. The ball kept very low, hands on the air from both Quinton de Kock and from Vernon Philander, but not like they don't care, because they do care.
Iceland Cricket. Well, there's a whole conversation between Iceland Cricket gamers and Nick, who has copied us in. Nick said surely a job for Guerrilla Cricket, but it relates to the weirdest cricket tournament on earth, with the final of which would be in Iceland, in the most northerly cricket ground in the world, apparently. So I retweeted the information on that, and yeah, we might be interested. You never know.
Vernon to finish another impressive over. Hands in the air like they do care again, but Root defended that ball. Big Vern very much focused on the top of the off stump, which I think is a good move for him. England 117 for 2. This is really, really good Test cricket we're witnessing in this session.
It's very good. Probably one more over to team, maybe 2 if Maharaj can Jadeja his way through the next over.
Quite his style, but I know what you mean, but you wouldn't want to release the pressure with a couple of 4s, though, would he?
I think it's probably good, though, that England that Denley is facing up to Maharaj right now, just before tea.
Well, it's definitely an opportunity to find a shoelace come undone here, because I mean, England want to get off and regroup and have a little think here, because they've been outplayed in this session by the South Africans. As Maharaj is in, just a bit of turn there from middle and leg towards middle, and Denley flat dead bats it. I don't know how long Denley's been on 13. It seems an absolute age.
He's barely had strike.
Well, interestingly enough, he's faced double the balls of Joe Root for this identical score.
Yeah, more than double. 10 more than double, as this ball is just hit back to Maharaj, and there is no run.
Michael Simpson says irreverent, not irrelevant, like those tail enders lads. He's actually copied in Felix White, Greg James, Jimmy Anderson, and man with large hat.
Don't copy in people when you want to be mildly nasty to them.
Yeah, it's a little unfair. I don't much care for their show, but it's still a little unfair. Maharaj is in. This is a half volley, and that's where Root's problem is. Not Root's, Denley's problem is. He's hit that was fielded by the man who's really in a catching position at silly mid-off. I think you've got to do more with the half volley than that. I really do. I mean, I don't mind slow scoring rate, but you can't just knock the half volley to the fielder. There's another half volley hit straight to the man at silly mid-off.
I'm not quite a half volley, but yeah, full delivery.
Maybe just very much a half volley.
Maybe just a little break of the wrist, take a single pass mid-on.
Lift it over the bowler's head. Half volley. That's not a half volley, but that is knocked to the man at extra cover. A lot of hands in the air, like they do care. Who was it who sang that? The hands in the air, like you know.
Without a roof. Because Pharrell Williams, wasn't it?
No, that's a different one.
I'm thinking of a different song.
I'm thinking of 1970s disco classic. Like you
I know
don't
the
care.
song.
I think it might be Cameo.
Word Up by Cameo.
Yeah, it's Word Up by Cameo. Who could forget that red cod piece? God knows I've been trying. Larry Blackman with his red cod piece. Last ball of the session, at least I think it is, and Denley manages to hit the man at short forward point that we've got now. Or
silly mid-off.
Well, there's a silly mid-off and a silly point, which is just forward of an authentic silly point. It is the last ball of the day. At tea, England are at 117 for 2. There's an excellent arm wrestle going on here. Joe Denley, who's been somewhat becalmed. Joe Root, who's been a little skittish and got away with a couple of top edges in a splendid session of cricket. 31 overs in it. That may have played some part. 56 runs scored by England, 2 wickets taken by the South Africans, and run rate below 2, but it has been compelling stuff. And after your tweets, we'll take a little break, and we'll be back from what will be equally compelling in the post-tea session. But we'll have your tweets first.
We certainly expect so. On YouTube, Dean Simister. I'm reading this from quite a long way, where I read it as Dean Sinister initially, but it's Dean Simister, says, this is flat even for Port Elizabeth. Linux Leah says these are indeed books, not videos, Gary. It's the war diary of the Oberkommando de Wehrmacht, abridged obviously, but it was a steal for €5 at the flea market. And amongst a number of people joining us on Crick Tracker,
Prudvi Nagendra Babu and M. Saipradaham Yadav are with us. So welcome to you. It is tea time. We shall be back straight after.
Yeah, I'll just go through the card briefly and then put on our the podcast that we were playing during the break between the first and second sessions. Yeah, the two men to go. Dom Sibley caught well by Dean Elgar at leg gully for 36 off 95, bowled by Krisa Rabada. Zach Crawley also stumbled into a leg side Heffalump trap. Well caught, very well caught indeed by Rossi van der Dussen, diving to his right at sort of catching backward square leg after bowling of Anrich Nokia for 44. Both batted a long time, 137 balls for Crawley, 95 for Sibley, but stumbled into well-set traps, and South Africa thought their way through that entire session very well, rotating the seamers at the Park Drive Edmonton. Keshav Maharaj doing a fine job at the duck pond end, not just a holding role, causing significant issues to both Joe Denley, who is 13 not out of 83, and Joe Root, who is 13 not out of 34 and has played quite a few false strokes and looks rather uncomfortable. Werner Philander, 8 overs, 4 maidens, none for 10, much better in his second spell. Dane Patterson, a little bit better in his second spell, 9 overs, no maidens, none for 26 on test debut. Krisa Rabada vastly improved on his pre-lunch showing, 10 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 18. Anrich Nokia, 12 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 33, bowled very well to the plan that was set for him by his captain, Faf du Plessis. And Keshav Maharaj, 19 overs, 9 maidens, none for 22, has done an excellent job for his team, coming back from the hiding that he took at Cape Town. We'll be with you in 10 minutes or so for the final session of what is shaping up to be another very good day of Test cricket between England and South Africa. Until then, podcast.
Elite all-boys school in the area, model of the English public school systems. Yes, these are the exceptions that prove the